Chapter 387. Liu Zhu's barbaric look makes Li Fan want to laugh. I don't owe you anything. Besides, how are you going to kill me? Why don't you kill me for me to see? Li Fan's words are very harsh to Liu Zhu's ears. Good. You are forcing this young master to do this. Little stutterer, if you have any ability, just use it. Li Fan hooked his finger at him. Liu Zhu's hand suddenly reached under his clothes and pulled out a golden dragon head-shaped object from under his clothes. This object is like a handgun that is held in Liu Zhu's hand. Li Fan lightly frowns. He has a vague feeling that something is wrong. Dragon head gun. Yin Wuchao can no longer sit still and directly stands up. Why is this thing in Liu Zhu's hand? Some of the martial artists below are also somewhat surprised. At the same time, a greedy look flashes in their eyes. What is a dragon head gun? This is a weapon in the martial arts world. It is a protective treasure created by a genius of Tang Sect. It is said that this thing is known as Tang Sect's submachine gun. Its power is astonishing. At this moment, Liu Zhu is holding the dragon head gun. With a pull of his left hand, the dragon mouth immediately opens, revealing 10 black bullet holes. They are aimed at Li Fan. Go to hell. Liu Zhu presses a mechanism. The 10 bullet holes turn together and 10 flying needles shoot out. These flying needles fly in front of Li Fan. Each of them split into 10, a total of 100 flying needles. These flying needles cover Li Fan's face. This is not the end. Liu Zhu presses the mechanism again and again. More flying needles shoot out. Every time there are more than 100 flying needles. They are even more terrifying than bullet. Such a dense rain of needles can only be shot by a hidden weapon expert who has reached great heights. But Li Fan does not care. He just stands there and continuously swings his sleeves to keep the rain of needles into his sleeves. Actually, the principle is very simple. Li Fan infuses his true qi into his sleeves, making his sleeves like iron. This is only half of it. As for the other half, he used his true qi to form a small black hole at the cuff of his sleeve. Everything around him would be sucked in. This was a skill that Li Fan could only perform when he maintained the state of Toad Strike. However, his performance was not obvious, lest it was too shocking. After all, the sky-swallowing toad was Li Fan's trump card. He wouldn't use it unless he had no other choice. Once he used it, he had to kill his opponent. Liu Zhu kept releasing flying needles, but to no avail. Li Fan kept all of them in his sleeves. Damn it! Liu Zhu was infuriated. Just what was the other party doing with his sleeves? He was actually able to collect all the flying needles. In the martial arts world, there had never been such a kung fu. This was the Dragon Head Blaster. The protector had said that no matter who the opponent was, as long as they took out this thing and launched a sudden attack, they would definitely be killed. Each of the flying needles was dipped in poison. Even if the needles were not fatal, the poison would be fatal. However, none of the poisonous needles could hit Li Fan. What was the use of this? With such a dense number of poisonous needles, how could anyone defend against it so easily? Very quickly, the Dragon Head Blaster in Liu Zhu's hands shot out all the flying needles. This time, it was a little awkward. Liu Zhu pulled the trigger a few more times. Not a single flying needle could be shot out. Damn it! Liu Zhu attacked for a long time without success. He looked like he wanted to give up, but he was very unwilling. You must teach this kung fu to this young master. I already said it's impossible, little stutterer. Don't call this young master a little stutterer. Liu Zhu was about to go crazy. You're dead. I'm telling you, you're really dead. Sorry, I don't have time to play anymore. It's time to eliminate you. Li Fan saw that it was getting late. If he continued to dawdle, it would not be beneficial to his plan. As Li Fan spoke, he stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers. Liu Zhu's vision blurred. Li Fan's figure disappeared just like that. Not only did he disappear from his sight, Li Fan even disappeared from everyone's sight. Even Yin Wuchao himself was a little surprised. How did Li Fan suddenly disappear? What kind of demonic technique did he use that even I couldn't keep up with him? This kid is a little powerful. Liu Zhu was even more unable to find Li Fan. At this time, Li Fan had already appeared behind him without anyone noticing. A hand knife landed on the back of his neck. Pa. Liu Zhu did not hesitate and fainted in an instant. This way, Li Fan eliminated everyone, leaving only him. Fort Master Yin, I'm sorry. I'm untalented and have become the final champion. Li Fan cupped his hands and said to Yin Wuchao. The people below the stage sighed. No one expected that the person who became the final champion would be him, little Overlord Li Fan. This name really lived up to its name. However, he already had a fiancée, and she was the martial arts alliance master. How could he play? Polygamy? Would Murong Ying agree to it? Would Murong Villa's people agree to it? Haha, not bad. Heroes indeed come from the youth. Yin Wuchao looked very calm. Next up is the final test. As long as you can receive 3 moves from this old man, you can become the son-in-law of the Golden Eagle Castle. Fort Master Yin, you are an expert who has been famous for many years. It's not good to bully a junior like me, right? Li Fan also changed his previous martial arts fanatic appearance and started to act weak. Although my daughter is untalented, she is still this old man's flesh and blood. Yin Wuchao said with a chuckle, if she wants to get married, then let this old man test her. Otherwise, this old man will not feel at ease marrying her off. No one could refute his words. Li Fan nodded, of course you can. But according to the rules, at least let this son-in-law meet Miss Yin first. Since Li Fan started to call himself son-in-law, Yin Wuchao clapped his hands, of course. Men, invite Miss Yin out. 2 maids from the Golden Eagle Castle opened the door at the back and invited the young miss of the Yin clan out. It was as if they were going to hold a wedding on the spot. This Miss Yin was already wearing a phoenix coronet and a red veil on her head. He couldn't tell if this Miss Yin was beautiful or ugly, but now that his target has appeared, the rest was easy. Li Fan looked around and saw that the Golden Eagle Castle's guards were standing around the stage. Every guard looked fierce and had a saber on their waist and a row of red tasseled darts on their bodies. Fort Master Yin, this place is too far and I can't see clearly. Can you let me take a closer look at Miss Yin? Li Fan was looking for an opportunity to get close to Miss Yin. Only when he was by her side could he take her away. He had already informed Guan Wenbao and Yang Kai. Today, he would probably cause a huge ruckus in the Golden Eagle Castle. There was a sea of people here and there were martial arts experts everywhere. If he succeeded in his task, Yin Wuchao would probably lose all his face and would hate him to death in the future. Chapter 388. No matter what, the mission takes precedence. Since he had already promised Miss Yin, he had to get this done. Young hero Li, you're too impatient. Yin Wuchao smiled, my daughter is here and can't run away. Why are you so impatient? After seeing Miss, I have the motivation to fight Castle Master Yin. Li Fan continued to fight for the opportunity. Fine. Yin Wuchao finally nodded, since that's the case, then come forward. He didn't pay much attention to it. Yin Wuchao felt that even if Li Fan was powerful, Li Fan was just a monkey in the palm of Buddha. No matter how powerful Li Fan was, could he escape from his palm? Thank you, Castle Master Yin. Li Fan was overjoyed when he heard that. He took large strides and walked to Miss Yin's side. When he got closer, Li Fan smelled the fragrance of Miss Yin's cosmetics. It seemed that Miss Yin had dressed herself up for today's scene. Although you can come and take a look, you can't lift the veil. Yin Wuchao reminded Li Fan, you can only lift it after you enter the bridal chamber. Castle Master Yin, if I take 3 moves from you, will you really agree to me marrying Miss Yin? Li Fan suddenly asked. What's wrong with that? It doesn't matter if an outstanding man has 3 or 4 wives. Yin Wuchao's words were beautiful, as long as your Murong family agrees, why can't this old man? However, my family is considered to be married first. No matter what, I can't be a concubine, right? Li Fan was slightly embarrassed. Yin Wuchao was making things difficult for him. Let Murong Ying be a concubine? Wouldn't she kill him? Even if she agreed, that old dog Murong Bo wouldn't agree. Wouldn't it cause a huge ruckus? Yin Wuchao, that old thing, was indeed a smiling tiger. Although he looked like he could do anything, he was actually forcing him to a dead end. Murong Bo was an old dog, but this guy was an old fox. But it's still too early to talk about this. Young hero Lee, you'll have to take 3 of my moves first. I've thought about it. I think I'll pass on these 3 moves. Li Fan suddenly waved his hand, causing Yin Wuchao to be startled. The surrounding people were also startled. What did he mean by that? What? Young hero, are you saying that you want to give up on this joust for a spouse? Yin Wuchao was delighted in his heart. In this way, he could casually decide on a candidate from the remaining 4. No. What I mean is, I won't take these 3 moves. But where is she? I'm going to take her away. As Li Fan spoke, he grabbed Miss Yin's arm. Young hero Li, what do you mean by this? Yin Wuchao frowned deeply, and his tone was a little unfriendly. This old man has been polite to you. Do you think that the Golden Eagle Castle is easy to bully? Castle Lord Yin is too polite. Li Fan laughed. The Golden Eagle Castle is full of experts, and with Castle Lord Yin holding the fort, no one would dare to provoke them. However, I, Li Fan, as the escort of Faifan Express, have already accepted Miss Yin's escort. I'm going to bail her out of the Golden Eagle Castle. So, whether it's a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, I have to make a trip. Li Fan's words shocked everyone present. What a great Faifan Express, they're really bold. Impudent. Yin Wuchao slapped the armrest of his chair, and the chair shattered. He stood up and stared at Li Fan in front of him. Li Fan, this old man respects you, but you've gone too far. This old man wants to see who can bring my daughter out of the Golden Eagle Castle today. As he spoke, the surrounding guards of the Golden Eagle Castle shouted in unison and placed their hands on the hilts of their swords, as if they were going to unsheath them at any time. Guan Wenbao immediately took out his crescent moon blade and waved it, bringing forth a flash of blade light. Yang Kai also took out his Taiji fist stance, and the 2 experts prepared to escort Li Fan. Li Fan, how dare you? Are you trying to barge into my Golden Eagle Castle? Yin Wuchao tried to be polite before resorting to force. Put down my daughter and get your 2 subordinates to put down their weapons, and this old man will still give face to Murong Manor and let you out. Otherwise, don't blame this old man for being merciless. Under this bright moonblade, there will be no survivors. Yin Wuchao placed his hand on his saber, but Li Fan only smiled. Thank you, Castle Lord Yin, for still giving face to my fiancé. Castle Lord Yin is a famous senior in the pugilistic world for many years, and your desert soul-breaking saber is also superb. Back then, when those bad guys in the desert heard of Castle Lord's name, they all trembled in fear. Since you know how powerful this old man is, why don't you surrender now? Yin Wuchao stroked his beard. That may be the case, but the banner of extraordinary delivery is right here. Li Fan pointed at the 2 banners on Guan Wenbao's back. We will definitely protect this escort. This live advertisement is very domineering. If Li Fan can really successfully bring Miss Yin out of the Golden Eagle Castle, then from now on, everyone in the pugilistic world will know the name of extraordinary deliverer. There is a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There is no door to hell, but you still want to barge into it. Yin Wuchao said angrily, since that's the case, then you can stay here. With that, Yin Wuchao stretched out his hand and grabbed Li Fan's shoulder, but Li Fan did not panic, and allowed Yin Wuchao's hand to land on his shoulder. At the same time, a surge of qi burst out from his shoulder, and actually pushed Yin Wuchao's hand away, and even forced him to take a step back. Good kid. Yin Wuchao's eyes widened. At this moment, the qi that Li Fan has burst out is definitely at the peak of perfection. Yin Wuchao is somewhat angry. This kid, he has actually been hiding his strength all along. Stinking brat, do you think that you can forcefully take my daughter away just because you have reached the peak of perfection? Yin Wuchao felt like he was being played. He suddenly stretched out his hand and touched the hilt of his bright moon saber. Be careful. Miss Yin's warning sounded in his ear, and Li Fan did not dare to hesitate. He immediately pushed Miss Yin out of the arena, and directly landed in front of Guan Wenbao. Miss Yin, follow me, I will protect you with my life. Guan Wenbao held his crescent moon saber and fought with the surrounding guards of the Golden Eagle Castle. Yang Kai is not idle either, his Taiji fist is the best in a crowded place like this. But Yin Wuchao has already brandished his saber. No one saw his saber technique clearly, they only felt that his right hand disappeared for a moment. Only Li Fan saw it clearly. Yin Wuchao's saber technique is indeed as fast as the wind. His saber drawing technique is so fast that it seems as if it will disappear into the air. If Li Fan does not have bullet time, he might really be injured. In Li Fan's eyes, this saber is quickly chopping towards his waist, as if it wants to take his life. Without hesitation, Li Fan suddenly stretched out his hand, and with the great sage picking stars technique, he used 4 fingers to pinch Yin Wuchao's saber. Chapter 389. Dang! Yin Wuchao's eyes widened. He didn't expect his saber to be caught by Lin Fan. That's impossible. The people watching the show all sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of background did this Li Fan have? He was actually able to catch Yin Wuchao's swift blade with his bare hand. The desert soul-breaking saber was many times faster than the 5 Tigers blade technique, but it was caught by Lin Fan's fingers. Castle Lord Yin's saber technique is indeed powerful. It's so fast that I almost couldn't react in time. Li Fan smiled, but Yin Wuchao felt that his smile was a little sarcastic. Brat, you're not bad to be able to catch my saber. As Yin Wuchao spoke, the bright moon saber suddenly exploded and shook off Li Fan's fingers. But you're still too young to block me. Yin Wuchao turned around and the saber in his hand disappeared again. This time, Yin Wuchao's saber was even sharper. Li Fan didn't dare to face it head-on. He immediately retreated 2 meters, avoiding the danger of being cut in half. Brat, where are you running to? Yin Wuchao slashed at Li Fan. Li Fan used the agile monkey steps and slid a meter to the side. The small wooden house that Miss Yin stayed in was actually split into 2 by Yin Wuchao's saber. Yin Wuchao's saber was indeed powerful to a certain extent. Even Li Fan couldn't completely block it. Moreover, Yin Wuchao had been famous for many years and his internal energy was extremely robust. He was already an expert who had reached great heights many years ago. Now, his internal energy was at least at the level of 7 or 8 dragons. It was indeed difficult for Li Fan to contend against him. But the mission was more important. If he failed this time, Fafen Express's flag would fall completely. He wasn't famous yet, so how could he submit? Li Fan snorted coldly and made up his mind. Yin Wuchao held his saber and looked at Li Fan. Brat, this is your last chance. Surrender, or die. Yin Wuchao, Fort Master Yin, I'll accompany you for a few moves today. As Li Fan spoke, his body suddenly began to swell. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a 2-meter-tall man. Whoosh. Ride. Army. 20 years later, you might also become a hero. Yin Wuchao said, it's a pity that you'll die here today. That's hard to say. As he spoke, Li Fan took a horse stance and slapped his palm towards Yin Wuchao from afar. Bear King Seal. This palm strike in the air was accompanied by a raging gale. Even Yin Wuchao didn't dare to take it head-on. Instead, he swung his saber down and split the palm wind apart. However, just as he was about to make his next move, Li Fan was already in front of him. Li Fan reached out and grabbed his shoulder. Wild bear hugs tree. Li Fan grabbed Yin Wuchao by the waist and threw him backward. Yin Wuchao wasn't someone to be trifled with. He used his left hand to support himself on the ground and stabilized his body, blocking Li Fan's attack. At the same time, Yin Wuchao twisted his waist and swung out the bright moon saber in his right hand, trying to chop Li Fan in half. Even so, Yin Wuchao was still able to use his saber. He was simply a freak. However, Li Fan was even more astonishing. His body caught the force of Yin Wuchao pressing down on the ground and forcefully pulled himself up, dodging Yin Wuchao's saber. Bang! The tree behind him was chopped into 2, becoming Li Fan's scapegoat. Li Fan flipped in the air and changed his posture, entering the ape-face Buddha state from the bear rider state. Li Fan's body was in midair as he directly slammed his palm onto the ground. Merciful palm! This palm brought with it a powerful gust of wind, causing Yin Wuchao to kneel on the ground. Yin Wuchao stabbed his saber into the ground to prevent himself from kneeling down. Yin Wuchao was shocked in his heart. This Li Fan was so young, but he had such a powerful internal energy, especially this palm, it actually carried a kind of Buddhist might. Open for this old man. Yin Wuchao suddenly grabbed his bright moon saber and slashed upward. The saber energy broke through Li Fan's palm wind and swept towards his body. Although Li Fan's internal energy was powerful, it was still no match for Yin Wuchao's 40 years of cultivation. The palm wind was swept away. The power of the saber energy was also greatly weakened. Li Fan moved his body to the side and dodged the saber energy. He also landed. As he fell, he kept one hand at his waist and the other aimed at Yin Wuchao. Ape King Cannon. Although there was no point of impact in midair, the power of this move would be weakened. However, Li Fan only wanted a quick attack. Bang! Li Fan's palm suddenly slapped down. In a hurry, Yin Wuchao could only exchange a palm with Li Fan. The ground beneath his feet caved in and a pit was created by Yin Wuchao. Yin Wuchao's expression was somewhat ugly, and the surrounding people exclaimed. This was Yin Wuchao, the famous lord of the Golden Eagle Castle. How many people in the pugilistic world could compare to him? However, this Li Fan was actually able to fight on par with him. Li Fan had only roamed the pugilistic world for a few years, and he had relied on his fiancée's reputation. However, his current martial arts were not just for show. To be able to fight on par with Yin Wuchao, it could be considered as shocking. Good kid, your internal energy is deep and your fist technique is shocking. A powerful internal energy erupted from Yin Wuchao's palm and finally pushed Li Fan away. However, this is the end. This old man can't let you live. As he spoke, Yin Wuchao picked up his bright moon saber again and slashed at Li Fan a few times. The sharp saber energy danced in all directions, locking down all of Li Fan's escape routes. At this moment, Li Fan could no longer dodge the saber energy and could only take it head-on. Moreover, Yin Wuchao's saber energy was abnormally sharp. Using his body to take it head-on was probably no different from suicide. As for using his own true qi, it could be seen that Li Fan's true qi was not enough to completely resist the saber energy. Li Fan was very straightforward. His arms shook and his body flew backward. The saber energy chased after his footsteps. However, after Li Fan flew backward for a distance, he directly fell off the stage. The saber energy brushed past Li Fan's scalp and flew out from the top of his head. Yin Wuchao did not think that he would be able to deal with Li Fan with this move. He had already arrived in front of Li Fan in an instant. The bright moon saber in his hand chopped down towards Li Fan's head. The saber energy contained in it was astonishingly terrifying. Without thinking, Li Fan subconsciously entered the heaven-swallowing toad state. At the same time, he stretched out his hands and released 2 streams of true qi to stop Yin Wuchao's saber above his head. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yin Wuchao's saber let out a buzzing sound, as if it was struggling and angry. As long as it moved down another 10 centimeters, it would be able to cut Li Fan's face. However, Li Fan's true qi was barely able to control the saber. The two of them were in a stalemate. Brat, if you want to kidnap my daughter, then we'll talk about it in your next life. Chapter 390. Yin Wuchao seems to be going all out while Li Fan is struggling to resist. The bright moon saber is getting closer and closer to Li Fan's nose. At this moment, Miss Yin, who was standing below the stage, suddenly lifts her veil and shouts at her father while shaking her head. Enough! Stop it! When Li Fan heard this voice, he instantly feels that it is familiar. When he turns his head, his scalp goes numb. Fuck! Isn't this Yin Xiaoru? Fuck! So Yin Xiaoru is Miss Yin? Miss Yin is Yin Xiaoru? Li Fan feels that his brain is unable to process all of this, but everything seems reasonable. This Yin Xiaoru is originally a flying cat that is quick-witted and ever-changing. It is very possible for her to disguise as Miss Yin to bully me. When the surrounding people look, this Yin family's young miss is indeed an outstanding beauty. Father, stop fighting and let us go. Yin Xiaoru begs. Xiaoru, you have no right to speak here. The seemingly easygoing Yin Wuchao is actually very rude and unreasonable at this moment and treats his daughter very strictly. Father, I really don't want to get married. Must you force me? The words of the matchmaker are the orders of the parents. Yin Wuchao is indeed formidable to be able to fight with Li Fan while talking to his daughter freely. Just listen to this old man's word. I'm not your puppet. Yin Xiaoru argues, I decide my own life, I don't need you to decide it for me. Heh, what big words. You've really grown up. Yin Wuchao coldly stares at his daughter. So you found this kid and think that he can protect you out? You're looking down on your father too much. In any case, I will not stay. Let us go. Xiaoru, it seems like you still have delusions about this kid. Yin Wuchao lets out a sneer. Although this kid's martial arts are not bad, compared to this old man, he is still lacking by a few decades. Forget it, I'll cut off your thoughts now. As he spoke, Yin Wuchao suddenly raised his leg and kicked Li Fan's lower abdomen. Li Fan flew out and crashed heavily on the edge of the arena. He spat out a mouthful of blood. It was obvious that his injuries were not light. I'll kill him now so that you won't have any more thoughts and stay here to get married. As Yin Wuchao spoke, he raised his bright moon blade and walked towards Li Fan. Dad, you're crazy. If you kill him, the people of Murong Manor will not let Golden Eagle Castle off. My Golden Eagle Fort has never been afraid of anyone. Yin Wuchao said in a loud voice, moreover, this brat came to marry you despite his family matters. I'll kill him and get rid of a scourge for Murong Villa. Dream on. Stop. Guan Wenbao and Yang Kai did not dare to delay any longer. Both of them used their qinggong and soared into the sky. One of them held a crescent moon saber while the other pulled out a sword from his waist and attacked Yin Wuchao in the air. Yin Wuchao sneered. You're overestimating yourself. He swung his saber twice and sent both of them flying. At the same time, Yin Wuchao turned his saber around and prepared to stab Li Fan's heart. Dad, don't kill him. At this moment, Yin Xiaoru knelt down in front of Yin Wuchao. Don't kill him. I won't leave. Oh. Yin Wuchao was stunned for a moment before he understood. I didn't expect that you actually have some feelings for this brat. Dad, don't kill him. I'll marry anyone you want. Yin Xiaoru begged bitterly. Yin Wuchao did not make things difficult for her and nodded in agreement. All right, since you're begging, I'll give you face and spare his life. Let's pick an auspicious day and marry into Mount Hua. Yin Wuchao waved his hand as if he had decided Yin Xiaoru's future. Yes, Yin Xiaoru knelt there as tears flowed down her cheeks. Go and bring the young miss back. Yes. The guards of Golden Eagle Castle were about to take action when Li Fan roared. Old Guan, Yang Kai, protect Miss Yin. Yes. The two of them got up from the ground and used their qinggong to return to Yin Xiaoru's side. You too? Yin Xiaoru was shocked and wiped her tears. You brat, you really don't want your life anymore. Yin Wuchao raised his bright moon saber and pointed it at Li Fan. A man's words carry enormous weight in this world. Li Fan slowly got up and half-knelt on the ground. I promise that I'll protect Miss Yin out of Golden Eagle Castle. Are you an idiot? Are you willing to give up your life for a promise? Yin Xiaoru shouted at Li Fan. What do you women know? Li Fan laughed. If I can't protect you, what's the point of me, Li Fan, living? Come, Castle Lord Yin, that was just a warm-up. Let me experience a few more moves from you. You have guts. Yin Wuchao handed the long saber to a guard beside him and clenched his fists. Cutting you down would be letting you off too lightly. This old man will shatter all your muscles and bones with my fists and make you beg me to kill you in the end. Yin Wuchao walked over and exchanged a few moves with Li Fan. Because Li Fan had suffered internal injuries and his internal strength was weaker than Yin Wuchao, he was defeated in the end. You think you're invincible after learning some martial arts? What a joke. Yin Wuchao said as he punched Li Fan's right arm. I'll break your right arm first to punish you for being so arrogant and daring to cause trouble in Golden Eagle Castle. Yin Wuchao broke Li Fan's left arm with another punch. I'll break your left arm as a warning to you for deceiving this old man. Yin Wuchao broke Li Fan's left leg with another kick. Li Fan gritted his teeth and stood there with his right leg. I'll break your left leg to let you know that there's always someone better than you out there. Yin Wuchao broke Li Fan's right leg, causing Li Fan to fall to the ground. I'll break your right leg as well so that you'll know how terrifying this old man is. Yin Wuchao squatted on the ground and pulled Li Fan's hair, pulling his head up. Brat, are you afraid? Quick, go save him. Yin Xiaoru begged Guan Wenbao and Yang Kai, who were still fighting with the Golden Eagle Castle's guards. Benefactor ordered me to protect you here. Guan Wenbao said without hesitation. Brat, don't talk nonsense. Yang Kai was also getting impatient. That brat is lucky. Since we're brothers, we should support him with our lives. Yin Xiaoru felt that these people were crazy. This old man is asking you, are you afraid? Yin Wuchao roared at Li Fan, this old man is kind-hearted. If you admit your mistake now, this old man will let you live. Since you're kind-hearted, can you let me and my client leave together? Li Fan asked with a smile with a fishy smell in his mouth. Chapter 391. You still don't know how to repent even at death's door. Yin Wuchao is furious. He raises his fist and fiercely punches Li Fan's face, causing Li Fan's face to be covered in blood. This is not the end. He directly slaps Li Fan's head, causing Li Fan's head to sink into the floor of the arena. At the same time, his fists are constantly hammering Li Fan's body. Each punch is heavier than the previous one, as if he wants to smash Li Fan into meat paste. Don't hit me. Dad, I beg you, please don't hit me. Yin Xiaoru is already choking with sobs. Daughter is begging you. If you beat him to death, daughter doesn't want to live anymore. Fine, do you still want to play suicide with father here? Yin Wuchao roars, I've raised you since you were young. This old man will first beat him to death, then cripple your martial arts, so that you can peacefully get married and raise your children, so that you can get rid of your wild nature. Father. You. Daughter is really sad. This is the first time Yin Xiaoru has cried so sadly, but she wipes away her tears. She suddenly shakes her hand and throws 3 hidden weapons towards Yin Wuchao. Yin Wuchao is just about to kill Li Fan when he suddenly turns his head and slaps away the 3 hidden weapons. How dare you? How disgraceful. Father knows that you won't learn anything from that wild woman. Father, daughter is unfilial. Today, even if I have to sacrifice my life, I must save Li Fan. Li Fan, I'm sorry, it's me who implicated you. If I can save you, I'll follow you to the ends of the world. If not, I'll accompany you on the road to the Yellow Springs. How can I let you protect me? Just when Yin Wuchao is about to explode in anger, Li Fan, who has been lying on the ground, suddenly speaks. Yin Wuchao is shocked. He lowers his head to look at Li Fan and roars. Stinking brat, you can still speak. It seems like your bones are quite hard. This old man will make you completely speechless. As he spoke, Yin Wuchao's fist smashed fiercely onto the back of Li Fan's head. This time, he planned to beat Li Fan's brains out. But to everyone's surprise, Li Fan suddenly raised his broken right hand and grabbed Yin Wuchao's fist. For some reason, Yin Wuchao felt a chill run down his spine as he abruptly jumped back over 10 meters. Li Fan, whose bones should have been broken, slowly stretched out his hands and pushed against the ground, pulling himself up from the ground bit by bit. At the same time, the bones in his body constantly made cracking sounds. It sounded very frightening. Abnormal bone changing. Abnormal bone changing. Yin Wuchao came to a sudden realization. This kid's aberration bone changing had actually saved his life and allowed his broken bones to be reconnected. This stinking brat actually has such a powerful innate talent, it really makes people envious. If this miraculous skill was given to him, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the world. Then he wouldn't have to lock up that stinking Wang Sen and force him to reveal the location of this miraculous skill. For this miraculous skill that didn't exist, Yin Wuchao had waited for a full 20 years. Yin Wuchao. As a parent, you're forcing your daughter like this. Even if Ms. Yin isn't my client, I can't stand it anymore. The bones in Li Fan's body kept cracking as he slowly stood up. The broken bones in his cheeks had also recovered. He wiped the blood off his face, looked at Yin Wuchao, and said with gritted teeth, Castle Master Yin, if I don't beat you up today, I won't be in a good mood. Then this old man will break your bones again and see how many times you can recover. Yin Wuchao picked up the bright moon saber again and pointed it at Li Fan. First, I'll chop off your head and see if you can grow another one. Phew, Li Fan didn't reply. Instead, he closed his eyes and spat out a mouthful of turbid air. The true qi that he absorbed from Wang Sen yesterday was also mobilized from his God-connecting meridian and filled Li Fan's body. Li Fan's body seemed to have an immortal aura, making him look like an immortal. Acting mysterious. Yin Wuchao snorted coldly and threw out an energy saber straight at Li Fan. Li Fan didn't even open his eyes. He just moved his body slightly to the side, and the energy saber flew past his body and cut a tree in half. Lie down for this old man. Yin Wuchao appeared beside Li Fan and slashed horizontally with the bright moon saber in his hand. However, Li Fan stretched out his right hand and pressed on the blade, forcefully pressing the bright moon saber down. Li Fan finally opened his eyes, and there was a cold glint in his eyes, causing Yin Wuchao to shiver. You're pretending to be mysterious again. Without hesitation, Yin Wuchao raised his saber and slashed at Li Fan. Meanwhile, Li Fan held up 3 fingers and knocked on Yin Wuchao's saber with his left hand like a crane's beak. Clang! Yin Wuchao's saber was actually repelled by Li Fan just like that. The white crane nodded. But when Li Fan performed it at this time, it was a little more elegant and unrestrained. Golden immortal crane. Li Fan spat out 3 words. His crane strike had also reached the Mahayana stage. Brat. It's useless to play with these strange things. I never leave anyone alive under my saber. Yin Wuchao was very confident in his saber technique. He used his desert soul-breaking saber and chased after Li Fan's life. However, Li Fan only used the white crane nodded and kept repelling Yin Wuchao's saber, leaving Yin Wuchao helpless. What move is that? Yin Wuchao was shocked that he couldn't take down Li Fan after a long time. White crane nodded. Li Fan said, "Are you done? If you are, it will be my turn." With that, Li Fan suddenly took a step forward. Yin Wuchao hurriedly raised his saber to block. However, Li Fan used the white crane nodded and knocked Yin Wuchao's saber away. Then, he used both hands to tap on Yin Wuchao's acupoints. Bang, bang, bang. Yin Wuchao did not expect that Li Fan would have such a swift and decisive attack. He was really quiet like a virgin and moved like a rabbit. In the blink of an eye, he had struck himself more than 10 times, causing the blood in his body to almost stop flowing. He took 2 steps back with blood at the corner of his mouth. He did not dare to believe that Li Fan had suddenly become so much stronger. Originally, Yin Wuchao was very strong and Li Fan would need to put in a lot of effort to defeat him. However, Li Fan relied on his explosive strength to launch a sneak attack and seriously injured Yin Wuchao. He half knelt on the ground and supported himself with his bright moon saber as he glared at Li Fan. Brat! You actually hid something. This old man has been roaming the pugilistic world for dozens of years. I never expected that I would be tricked by you today. You're too polite, Castle Master Yin. Li Fan borrowed this true qi from the God-connecting meridian. After using it, he returned it. He was currently lacking in strength and could only stand there. This time, he had consumed a lot of energy in the battle with Yin Wuchao. If Yin Wuchao got up and attacked again, he might not be able to hold on. I'll be taking Miss Yin with me today. If Castle Master Yin is unwilling, feel free to chase after me, Li Fan said as he jumped off the stage and carried Yin Xiuru. Chapter 392. Yin Xiuru was also startled. It wasn't like she couldn't move, so why did Li Fan have to carry her? She didn't know that this was Li Fan's demonstration to Yin Wuchao. However, Yin Xiuru didn't think too much about it. She naturally hugged Li Fan's neck, as if being in his arms was a very comfortable feeling. Yin Wuchao looked at Li Fan as he leaned on the bright moon saber and said, "If you dare to leave with my daughter, you and my Golden Eagle Castle will be irreconcilable enemies. This old man will issue the Golden Eagle Order. The entire Golden Eagle Castle and its guest delegates will start hunting you down. We won't rest until one of us dies. I don't care if you come in the dark or out in the open. Our Fafen Express will take you on." Li Fan stood beside Guan Wenbao and said loudly. Guan Wenbao pulled out a large flag from behind him and held it in his hand, letting the flag with the words "Extraordinary Expresses" flutter in the wind. Castle Lord Yin, we'll meet again if fate wills it. With that, Li Fan gave Guan Wenbao and Yang Kai a look. The three of them immediately used their Qinggong and quickly left the Golden Eagle Castle's arena. Brother-in-law, wait for me. Murong hurriedly followed behind them and left with them. The guards of Golden Eagle Castle wanted to chase after them, but they were stopped by Yin Wuchao. Don't chase a cornered enemy. Jiang Minjia wanted to help, but Yin Wuchao pushed him away. This old man is in the prime of his life. Since when do I need your support? Master, what should we do now? Although Jiang Minjia was quick-witted, he still needed his master to make a decision on such a big matter. Since things have come to this, leave it to Zhenrong. Eldest senior brother is coming back. Jiang Minjia was delighted. This Xu Zhenrong was Yin Wuchao's eldest disciple and had received Yin Wuchao's true teachings. He was in his 30s and had already gained some fame in the pugilistic world. People gave him the nickname Cold Face Golden Knife. He should have come back when Xiaoru got married. Yin Wuchao said, when he comes back, let him chase Xiaoru back. Help me pacify the guests. Today's commotion is really big. Yin Wuchao recovered and went to appease the guests. At this moment, Li Fan and the others were sitting in a second-hand Iveco. The driver was Huang Lei, while Ling Tian sat in the front passenger seat. This Huang Lei still had the smell of a bathtub on him, which made Ling Tian extremely uncomfortable. Everything was going according to plan. Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo were worried that the people from Golden Eagle Castle would block their way when they returned, which would be very troublesome. Thus, they decided to let Ling Tian secretly drive the second-hand Iveco, and arrived at the small town a day earlier than Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo. Don't mess around when you're out on missions in the future. Ling Tian scolded Huang Lei. Fuck, how dare you talk to your brother Lei like that? Huang Lei curled his lips as he drove. No matter what, I'm still your senior. I've followed you through so many ups and downs for so many years. Do you understand what's called first come, first served? My words might have offended you, so I apologize first. Ling Tian didn't need Li Fan to teach him how to deal with things. He easily dealt with Huang Lei's temper, and his words convinced Huang Lei. However, I'm now Mr. Li's legal advisor. I'm responsible for Mr. Li's personal safety. What if you're messing around when the bathtub is cracking down on you, and they catch you? If something happens to you, it will affect the entire plan. At that time, how do you expect Mr. Li to deal with it? Should we wait for you here in Golden Eagle Castle, or should we leave you behind? Huang Lei rubbed his nose, and Ling Tian added another sentence. Ling Tian added, I wasn't in this group before, so I naturally didn't care about these things. But now that I'm responsible for Mr. Li's safety, I have to remind you of something. Huang Lei didn't say anything, waiting for Ling Tian to continue. You can indulge yourself however you want, but at the critical moment, you have to control the thing in your crotch. Huang Lei still didn't say anything. Li Fan and Guan Wenbao looked at each other. There was actually someone who could control Huang Lei. It was really not easy. This Ling Tian was really Huang Lei's nemesis. Miss Yin, I've already brought you out according to the agreement. Li Fan began to get to the point. He said to Yin Xiaoru, who was wearing a phoenix crown and red robe, although you lied to me, a mission is a mission. When I bring you back to City A, we'll be even. No, the mission isn't over yet. Yin Xiaoru said seriously, my father will definitely come out to find me. If he takes me back, won't the mission fail again? Hey, that's not what our previous contract said. Li Fan was about to explode. I'm just thinking for your sake, Boss Li. Yin Xiaoru seemed to be smiling because she had left Golden Eagle Castle. If I'm taken back, what will the people outside say? You guys have rescued her, but then you're taken back. TSK, this won't do you any good at all. Li Fan was a little speechless. Although I don't want to admit it, what she said makes sense. Ling Tian also gave Li Fan a suggestion at this time. At least protect her for a month. After a month, even if she's taken back, it has nothing to do with us. Li Fan could agree with Ling Tian's idea, but Yin Xiuru obviously didn't think so. How can we do that? It's only a month. What if my father takes me back after a month? Yin Xiuru quickly pulled Li Fan and said, "Why, do you want me to protect you for the rest of your life?" Li Fan's words made Yin Xiuru blush slightly. Fuck, why are you blushing? I didn't mean it that way. Who would mean it that way? Don't let your imagination run wild. Fuck, who's letting their imagination run wild? Li Fan wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Yin Xiuru suddenly rolled her eyes and said, "Li Fan, I think your agency is still lacking something. After all, it's just a small agency." Li Fan said confidently, "But I believe that sooner or later, Feifen will become a famous escort agency in Jianghu." "Yes, so you need to recruit more talent." Yin Xiuru seemed to be giving advice to Li Fan. "I'm a famous thief in the Jianghu. My master is the master thief. I'll definitely surpass him in the future. I'll give you a chance now. I'll stay in your agency and help it develop quickly." "Fuck, we're an agency, not a den of thieves. Why would I take in a thief like you?" "Not a thief, a hero thief," Yin Xiuru emphasized. "Fine, no matter what it is, I don't want it." Li Fan's attitude was very firm. "We're on different paths. We can't work together. I have a strong intelligence network." Yin Xiuru winked at Li Fan. "With me, you'll have this intelligence network." Chapter 393. This girl insisted on joining the gang. Yin Xiuru's willful request made Li Fan somewhat helpless. "How reliable is your intelligence network?" Ling Tian rubbed his chin and asked. "As a chivalrous thief, if I didn't have qualified informants, I would have been caught a long time ago." Yin Xiuru said, "It is precisely because of a strong intelligence network that I am able to know the movements of the Imperial Secret Service. Moreover, not only the Imperial Secret Service, but also the movements of the police, I am also very clear about them." "Boss, I think we can try it out for a month," Ling Tian suggested. "Currently, our company's intelligence network comes from me. However, my forte is not intelligence, so my intelligence network is not very wide. If Miss Yin can really fill this gap, it would be a good choice." "That's fine, but I'm afraid that her hands and feet are dishonest and steal our employers' things." Li Fan truthfully spoke out his concern, making Yin Xiuru angry. "Nonsense," this lady said. "This lady is a thief, not a chivalrous thief." Pay. I am a chivalrous thief, not a thief. I will not steal anything. If this lady is not interested in things, I will not take them." "What if you are interested in the employer's things?" Li Fan asked, causing Yin Xiuru to suddenly become mute. Then I will bear with it. After all, you are my boss, I will still listen to you." This girl seemed to be a little scared. "Xiao Ari, what do you think?" Li Fan suddenly asked Murong Ari, who was sitting at the side looking at the scenery. "Ah!" Murong Ari was surprised. She didn't expect that her brother-in-law would actually ask for her opinion. "Brother-in-law, these things, I don't really understand." Murong Ari hurriedly said, "For business matters, brother-in-law can learn from sister. Sister has managed the Murong villa in good order all by herself, and we've made a lot of money these few years." Li Fan couldn't bring himself to ask Murong Ying for advice, so he said, "I just think that you're also a girl, and you're the same as Yin Xiuru. You're the kind of person who acts one way on the surface and another on the inside, so I want to ask for your opinion." "Brother-in-law? Hey, Li Fan, who's that kind of person?" The two girls were a little unhappy. "How about this?" Li Fan looked at the people sitting in the Iveco. "Including Xiao Ari, let's all vote." Those who agreed to join her raised their hands. "If more than half of them pass, I'll try her for a month." Hey. It's fine if you guys vote. Why did you bring her along?" Yin Xiuru protested. "She's just your sister-in-law. It's enough to prove that I'm a fair, just, and democratic person." Li Fan smiled at Yin Xiuru. "If you have the chance to join our family, you'll definitely enjoy the benefits of democracy." Yin Xiuru was furious, but she had to lower her head. "Come on, let's vote." The moment Li Fan finished speaking, Huang Lei, Ling Tian, and Guan Wenbao all raised their hands. Murong Ari, Yang Kai, and Li Fan didn't raise their hands. Exactly half. That's a bit difficult. Li Fan frowned. Can I hear everyone's opinions? Lei, why did you raise your hand? You're a master thief. Brother. Huang Lei was so excited that he stepped on the gas pedal. I'll have to ask Miss Yin for advice in the future. I wanted to be the holy thief back then. Damn you, the next one is. Ling Tian, what do you think, old Guan? Benefactor, please don't laugh at me if I say it out loud. Guan Wenbao had a serious look on his face. Li Fan thought to himself that he always had a serious look on his face. Since we brought Miss Yin out, she should be responsible for her. Besides, we can restrain her behavior. It's killing two birds with one stone. Guan Wenbao was an honest man, and today was the first time he spoke so much. Benefactor, please excuse me. Guan Wenbao cupped his hands, but Li Fan comforted him. Hey, you're right. Look. Yin Xiaoru looked as if she was right. Don't say anything. I haven't finished my questions. Li Fan asked Murong Ari, why don't you let her come? Exclude all the women around brother-in-law. Except for my sister. This girl's answer was hard to refute. Li Fan was silent for a while, then asked Yang Kai, what about you? Women are so troublesome. Yang Kai said casually, how can a man bring a woman with him when he's in Jianghu? I think it's better to recruit 2 more handsome guys to conquer the world with us. Fuck off. Li Fan rolled his eyes angrily. How about this? Yin Xiaoru took out a coin. Since you can't make up your mind, let fate decide, okay? Toss a coin. Yes, the number side means yes, and the chrysanthemum side means no. Okay. Li Fan said that was the only way. Fate decided, so he wouldn't be conflicted. Okay, I'll toss the coin. Pa. Li Fan reached out and caught the coin that Yin Xiaoru tossed in the air. I'll see the result. Yin Xiaoru pursed her lips. Li Fan's subtext was very obvious. Lest you, this girl, cheat. This girl was a famous thief. If he gave her full authority, who knows what kind of tricks she would use. Li Fan slapped the coin on the back of his hand. When he opened his hand, it was the number side. Look, God's will. Yin Xiaoru took back her coin, and at the same time, a triumphant smile hung on the corner of her mouth. Li Fan always felt that something was wrong. Since he lost the bet, he had no choice but to accept it. Then from today onwards, you'll enter the probation period. Li Fan said, Boss, I have a job for you. Okay, boss, tell me. Yin Xiaoru seemed a little excited. Tell me first, how did you trick me with the coin? Li Fan had bullet time, but it only appeared during the competition. Without feeling any threat, he couldn't find out what trick Yin Xiaoru used. Okay, since you want to know, then I'll satisfy you. Yin Xiaoru put on a righteous look. Actually, it's not that difficult. I just changed the coin the moment I tossed it. Yin Xiaoru spread out her hand. The coin in her palm had the number 1 on both sides. He had to admit that Yin Xiaoru's technique was indeed farce. The coin that was inspected previously was still fine, but in the blink of an eye, it became like this. Okay, Yin Xiaoru, you win. In the future, work hard in the escort agency. If you cause trouble again, I'll still fire you. Yes, boss. Please use me. Chapter 394. Yin Xiaoru joined the gang just like that. Originally, Li Fan didn't have much hope for her, but to Li Fan's surprise, this girl's cooking skills were surprisingly good. As soon as she arrived at Li Fan's security company in the market, she made a delicious meal and conquered everyone with her cooking skills. Even Yang Kai, who claimed to be a Taoist priest and only ate plain tea and food, regretted that he didn't raise his hand to agree at that time after eating Yin Xiaoru's food. Because he successfully brought out Yin Xiaoru, Li Fan's extraordinary courier name also became famous in the martial arts world. In the past few days, some people came to deliver darts. 4 ordinary small darts, Li Fan let Guan Wenbao and Yang Kai take turns delivering them. As time went on, business would definitely get better and better. As the days went by, the business of Li Fan's escort agency also gradually improved. In the blink of an eye, winter passed just like that, and City A welcomed spring. The days were very ordinary. Golden Eagle Castle didn't come looking for trouble, so Yin Shiru stayed in the escort agency with peace of mind. But occasionally, this girl would disappear for a few days, probably to do her old job. Li Fan didn't care too much, because he knew that Yin Shiru was a heroic thief, and she wouldn't take ill-gotten gains. On Liu Xinan's side, the Red Dragon Society was almost done, and he was probably invited to search for the Ming Dynasty's royal treasures at any time. Li Fan didn't slack off either. While going to school, he ran the escort agency, and at the same time, he practiced his martial arts. However, Li Fan felt that his martial arts seemed to have reached a bottleneck, and he didn't make any progress for a long time. Li Fan told Murong Ying about his troubles, but Murong Ying only rolled her eyes at him. To be able to reach the peak of perfection in a year's time, this was simply something that others could only dream of. This guy was still not satisfied. In such ordinary days, Li Fan and City A welcomed spring together. Spring in a city was different from other places. Because it was located in the north and was influenced by the Siberian climate, spring here was not much better than winter. Early in the morning, it began to snow heavily in City A. Everything was covered in silver. Li Fan was wearing a navy blue cotton-padded jacket as he pushed open the classroom door. And Murong loved to jump and follow behind him, running out together. Ever since Murong announced that she was moving into her sister's house, the girl had been pestering Li Fan to go to school with him. Li Fan had no choice but to divide the dates. He went to and from school with Lin Yuhin on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. When they were in middle school, they loved going to and from school together with Murong. As for Lin Yuhin, Li Fan had already explained that he was picking up his sister-in-law and asked her not to misunderstand. But every time Lin Yuhin looked at him, it was as if she was looking at a pervert, which made Li Fan feel very wronged. Damn, it's like I'm seducing my sister-in-law. It's my sister-in-law who's seducing me, okay? Xiao Ari, you've grown up. You can't always stick to brother-in-law. Li Fan reminded Murong, and we haven't left the school yet. You're too close to me. Keep a meter away from me. Oh, what are you afraid of? Isn't the school settled by brother-in-law? Murong said with a smile, even if I cling to brother-in-law, no one in the school dares to say anything. With sister and brother-in-law here, who dares to say anything? Humph. That won't do. Be careful. Li Fan reminded Murong, it's not like you don't know that the relationship between your sister and I is still confidential at school. Okay. Brother-in-law is really careful. Murong had to keep a little distance from Li Fan. Brother-in-law, how long do you want to keep it a secret? University will be fine. It was unknown who Li Fan was comforting. His current relationship with Murong Ying was indeed a bit strange. Since the last time they almost had sex, Murong Ying refused to let Li Fan sleep on her bed. This woman was simply an intermittent psychopath. However, Li Fan got his own bed back as he wished. Finally, he didn't have to sleep on a rope anymore. If it weren't for Tai Zhu, who liked to stand guard at home, Li Fan estimated that Murong would run to his room every few days. Living with this family was too much of a battle of wits and courage. Brother-in-law, where are you going to go? I don't know yet. Let's talk about it later. Li Fan walked out of the teaching building. Looking at the falling snow outside, he couldn't help but stretch. Great. Tomorrow is the holiday. Although the second high school was much more relaxed, it was still very strict about studying. Although it was only the second year of high school, the winter holiday was only a short 15 days. It started 7 days before the new year and ended 7 days after the new year. Yeah. It's time to pack up. Ah. Are you moving away? Li Fan looked a little happy, which made Murong pout. Brother-in-law, do you really want to drive me away? Of course not. Am I that kind of person? Li Fan coughed twice. I won't move away. We are going back to Murong Villa together. What? Why are we going back there? Murong Villa was a place that Li Fan didn't want to step in his life. Everyone is going back to Murong Villa for the new year. Brother-in-law is no exception. Why? Because you are also a member of Murong Villa. Murong looked at Li Fan strangely, aren't you? Of course not. My surname is Li. Li Fan said without hesitation, My surname is not Murong. Next time you call me by the wrong name, you will be miserable. Okay. Brother-in-law, won't you go back with us? No. I will stay in City A for the new year. Li Fan had his own business in City A, so he wouldn't go to Murong Villa to be bullied. Okay. I will stay with you. Murong volunteered but was stopped by Li Fan. Forget it. If you stay with me, your house will explode. Li Fan thought to himself, this girl is a little bomb. No. I said that brother-in-law is too bored to be alone. I am afraid that brother-in-law will go out and mess around, so I will stay to supervise him. Yes, this must be a good reason. Good your ass. You are making trouble for me. As Li Fan said, he stretched out his hand and rubbed Murong's hair desperately, messing up Murong's neat hairstyle. Brother-in-law. I won't grow taller if I keep rubbing your head. Looking at the little girl who had grown to the height of his nose, Li Fan muttered in his heart, where do you want to grow? You are quite close to your sister-in-law. A sour voice sounded next to him. Li Fan's heart sank. He turned around and saw that it was indeed his little lover, Lin Yuhin. Today, Lin Yuxian was wearing a white down jacket over her school uniform. The down jacket reached her knees, and she also had a light yellow mohair scarf around her. She looked very artistic. However, the look in her eyes was not as artistic as before. Chapter 395. Isn't today Saturday? Why did this lass pop out? She's not playing according to the script. Li Fan felt uneasy because he saw Lin Yuhin's eyes were filled with jealousy. There's a scary creature in this world, and that's women. And what's scarier than a woman is a jealous woman. Li Fan was on tenterhooks because he met such a scary creature. Lin Yuhin, this little girl, is usually fine, but once she's black-bellied, she's very scary. What a coincidence. Li Fan's greeting manner was also very awkward. The moment he said it, he wanted to slap himself. Yes, what a coincidence. We're actually from the same school. What a coincidence. Lin Yuhin clapped her hands lightly. Hey, hey, hey. This woman, it's not Monday or Friday. Why did you pop out? Murong Ari hugged Li Fan's arm and looked at Lin Yuhin in a threatening manner. Sister is giving in to you, but I won't. Brother-in-law belongs to me, belongs to us. Lin Yuhin didn't even look at Murong Ari, but said to Li Fan. Li Fan, those who eat secretly are the most shameful. Who's eating secretly? Don't talk nonsense. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I'm innocent. It suddenly occurred to him that the relationship between him and Murong Ari could not be considered as pure and innocent. Humph humph, what does this have to do with you? This is our family's matter. Behind closed doors, no one can interfere. When Murong Ari said that, she was very pleased with herself. She felt that her little tail was about to stand up. Manage your sister-in-law. Adults are talking, don't interrupt a child. How are you big? Murong Ari immediately became anxious. You're obviously the same as me. We're both airplanes. You still have the cheek to say that you're big. You actually use breasts to evaluate a woman. That's too childish. You don't even have breasts and you're still arrogant. My legs are longer than yours. Murong choked and did not speak for a long time. Li Fan didn't know why, but he really wanted to clap his hands. Lin Yuhin was really awesome to be able to make Murong choke on her love. Brother-in-law, sob sob sob, she bullied me. Murong tugged at Li Fan's sleeve and acted pitiful. All right. Stop arguing, you two. You're making my head hurt. Li Fan rubbed his temples and said, Moon Immortal, why did you look for me today? Speak. Lin Yuhin wasn't a woman who didn't know what was important. She suddenly appeared to look for him, so there must be something. You idiot. Lin Yuhin scolded Li Fan. It's almost the Lunar New Year. Aren't you going to give out red packets to the people in the company? The accounts of the security company had always been managed by Lin Yuhin. Hearing her question, Li Fan suddenly remembered. Of course, I will. It's the Lunar New Year. Give out more money so that everyone can have a good New Year. Give out your sister. The company has been in a state of deficit. Your operating funds are almost used up. Lin Yuhin stomped her feet angrily. What are you going to use to give out red packets to everyone? Then I'll pay for it, Murong said with a smile. My pocket money is quite a lot. It's about 7 digits. It's enough for brother-in-law to give out red packets. Damn, this is another rich woman. Murong Bo is too indulgent with her daughter. I don't need Murong's money. Li Fan's words made Murong pout again. Brother-in-law is sometimes like a stone in a latrine pit, smelly and hard. Moon Immortal, how much money is left in the accounts? Are you sure you want to talk about this here? Lin Yuhin raised her head and looked at Li Fan as if she was looking at an idiot. Li Fan looked around at the students who were watching the show. He thought to himself that he had indeed made a mistake. All right, let's go to the noodle restaurant. I'll treat you two to a meal. Although the billiard hall was open, it was a mess inside. The noodle restaurant was fine. Because it was a long break, the students were busy going home. Not many people ate noodles. Lin Yuhin seemed to be a little proud. It was as if she was telling Murong that even if it was not 1 to 5, she could still make Li Fan obediently follow her rhythm. Murong did not want to be outdone. She glared back at Lin Yuhin. To be honest, Lin Yuhin was also unhappy. She was clearly fighting with Murong Ying. That was fine. Now, there was also Murong Ying's younger sister. The way this girl looked at Li Fan was definitely not normal. If someone said that this girl did not like Li Fan, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. The three of them sat in the noodle restaurant. There were indeed not many people. The waiters were sitting at the side, playing with their mobile phones to kill time. This is all the money left in the accounts. Lin Yuhin opened the account book and showed it to Li Fan. There are more than 30,000 yuan left in the accounts. This is not even enough to pay everyone's salaries. Don't the merchants pay protection fees? I mean, security fees? Old Guan and Yang Kai are also doing escort business. They should have some income, right? Li Fan frowned. This little money is not enough to cover our expenses. Lin Yuhin rolled her eyes at Li Fan. You think it's a lot of money? You're such an idiot. Not many merchants are willing to pay and you don't want to force them. Now we're basically relying on Old Guan and the others to do the escort business. But they're all small escorts. The money is not much and it's hard to operate. Oh, the merchants don't want to pay anymore? Li Fan raised an eyebrow. It's simple. We'll take away their security. In the future, we won't be in charge of the safety of this area. Won't be in charge? Then what's the difference between us and those people who collect protection fees? The Yellow Uniform Regiment will definitely come to collect more money. Lin Yuhin was shocked. That clever little brain of yours shouldn't be so one-sided. Li Fan reminded her, think again. What has their lives got to do with us? Murong said immediately. If they don't pay, we'll just ignore them. You're cold-blooded and heartless. Lin Yuhin glared at Murong and said to Li Fan, I understand what you mean. After all, we're running a business. We can't do things for free. It's good that you understand. Li Fan said, everyone still needs to eat. How can we do things for free? We're running a security company, not a charity company. But we're not a triad, so we won't force them. If they pay, we'll do it. If they don't pay, we won't do it. It's that simple. All right, Lin Yuhin nodded, agreeing with Li Fan. I still have 200,000 in savings. Let's use it to pay everyone's salaries. There's also a red packet for Lunar New Year. Give everyone some red packets for a Happy New Year. Millimeter, all right. Lin Yuhin's clever little brain calculated everything in minutes, including how many red packets each person would get. Chapter 396. Brother-in-law didn't like to let others pay for his business. With this temper, Murong couldn't say anything even if she loved it. Actually, she really wanted to help her brother-in-law. Wasn't it just a matter of money? A small security company wouldn't need much money. However, this 200,000 is only enough to operate for 2 months. Lin Yuhin said, if we don't generate income, after 2 months, everyone will be starving. We have a lot of security personnel now, and it's more than enough to protect one market. I understand what you mean. We should arrange for them to do some other work. Li Fan nodded. Indeed, they should let the security company do some other projects. If they only protected one market, this bit of income wouldn't be enough. I'll let Lingtian help us arrange the business. Li Fan thought for a moment, then laughed again. This guy's business network is quite wide, let him handle it, there shouldn't be a problem. I hope this legal consultant you found will be useful. Lin Yuhin couldn't help but groan softly. I'm also drunk, such a small company actually has a legal consultant. Another useless expense. This isn't a useless expense. Li Fan immediately argued, because of Lingtian, I was able to smoothly get out of prison, and is very important to us, opening a company, especially this kind of company. If we don't have a legal consultant, we won't be able to do anything. Okay, you always have a reason. Lin Yuhin was speechless at Li Fan's excuses. This guy always had a bunch of excuses waiting for her. Wait. Li Fan took out his phone and directly called Lingtian. After a few minutes, he hung up the phone. It's done. There's a newly opened nightclub. Tomorrow, a group of people will go there to be security guards. Li Fan winked at Lin Yuhin. It's settled, you should communicate with Lingtian more. Talk your sister. Lin Yuhin glared at Li Fan and said, alright, I'll talk to him more. Since it was for the good of the company that everyone had built together, Lin Yuhin could only endure it. But why are you talking to Lingtian about the market? Lin Yuhin couldn't help but ask, do you also want him to solve this problem? If you need to come up with ideas, you should either talk to Bai Linluo or Lingtian. Li Fan suggested to Lin Yuhin, but if it's an upright matter, let Bai Linluo help. If it's something like this, Lingtian's method will be more effective. Got it. So you're just a hands-off boss. Lin Yuhin rolled her eyes. Li Fan laughed, I still have other things to do. Speaking of which, I'm more like the spiritual leader of this group. Plus, with me around, the company's name will be even more prominent. Li Fan was the boss of this company, he was more like the company's spokesperson. Alright, that's all. Lin Yuhin suddenly hesitated. What's wrong? Is there any other problem with the company? It's not the company's problem. Lin Yuhin was a little shy again. Murong pouted at the side. Where's your fierce look just now? You're starting to be shy again. This sister-in-law of yours should take 2 lessons on etiquette. Do you want to fight? Murong's left hand shone with a cold light and became very white. Li Fan grabbed her left hand and dissolved the qi from her ice palm. Interesting. Lin Yuhin's words carried ridicule. Do you guys practice martial arts just to fight ordinary people? Of course not. Don't mind Xiao Ari. She just has a bad temper. I'll discipline her well. Murong made a face at Lin Yuhin with an unconvinced look. On the first day of the new year, can I pay my respects to uncle and auntie? When Lin Yuhin said this, her face was already red. This is a bit difficult. Li Fan was very embarrassed. Why, can't I even pay my respects? You're too petty. Li Fan, classmate Li, what do you take me for, a beautiful girl who's throwing herself at you? A free intelligent labor force? Lin Yuhin seemed to be very angry. The moment she came, she let out a series of roars, scaring the other people in the noodle shop. It was rare for a beautiful girl to be so angry. Even Li Fan was shocked. How long has Lin Yuhin been suppressing herself? It's not what you think. Li Fan explained, it's not just you. Even I can't visit my parents for the new year. Ah, uncle and auntie passed away. I don't know, sorry. Lin Yuhin was shocked. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sorry, they didn't pass away. They went on vacation. I don't even know where they are. I just received a message from my mom 2 days ago, telling me that they're going to spend the new year abroad. Hearing Li Fan's explanation, Lin Yuhin was also speechless. This pair of parents is a bit too unreliable. So, it's not that I don't want you to pay your respects, but I really can't do it. Okay, it's my fault. I shouldn't have lost my temper. I'm sorry. Lin Yuhin actually apologized to Li Fan. Li Fan even suspected that he heard wrong. If there's a chance, I'll definitely let you meet my parents, if they still remember me as their son. How can there be parents who don't care about their children? They'll definitely come back. I hope so. Anyway, I'm doing quite well on my own. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Okay then. That's all for today. I'll leave first. There are some accounts to settle. If you have time tonight, come to the office. Okay. Before the new year, there were some accounts to settle. Li Fan understood. Then I'll see you tonight. See you tonight. While Li Fan was spending time with Lin Yuhin and Murong, Ling Tian was sitting in his office and making a call to a certain someone. Yes, release the news that the extraordinary security in the old market has temporarily withdrawn. Ling Tian put down the phone and then called Li Fan. In less than 3 days, the remaining users will obediently pay. Okay, I got it. Li Fan put down the phone. At this time, he had already returned home with Murong. The house was clean and tidy. There were a few big boxes in the living room. Taiju was arranging some clothes. Son-in-law, you're finally back. We should set off. You guys go back. I'll be in City A for the new year. Li Fan's words stunned Taiju. Meanwhile, Murong Ari shrugged her shoulders, implying that she had already persuaded him. What did you say? Murong Ying wore a violet cheongsam and slowly walked down the stairs. Chapter 397. What did you say? Murong Ying was tall and had a big chest. This cheongsam accentuated her figure incisively and vividly. She was as seductive as one could imagine. Although they were an old couple, Li Fan couldn't help but be stunned when he saw Murong Ying like this. I didn't hear you clearly. Say it again. He didn't know if Murong Ying really didn't hear him clearly or if she was threatening him. However, Li Fan's attitude was very certain. I won't go back. You guys can go back by yourselves. Li Fan, do you know what you're saying? Murong Ying seemed a little angry. You've been practicing martial arts for more than a year. How can you still be so childish? Talking to you is always so unpleasant. Li Fan said, you're still so overbearing and unreasonable. This is the way you chose. Murong Ying said bluntly, I could have spoken to you in a more gentle way. Are you saying that I angered you? Li Fan said very indifferently, why don't you say that your arbitrary decision angered me first? Arbitrary? What's so arbitrary about going home for New Year's? I don't like Murong Villa. Li Fan said very straightforwardly, that's why I'm not going. Li Fan, is this the time for you to be willful? How am I willful? It's the tradition for the wife to spend the New Year's at her husband's house, right? Straight man cancer. Who's straight man cancer? If Murong's family treats me better, maybe I won't be so stubborn. Li Fan's words were very direct, and Murong Ying was also very unhappy. What can I do? Father, he just has that temper. So, why should I go to a cold buttocks with a warm face? Li Fan rolled his eyes. What's the point of me going to such a place? It's fine if you don't come back to Murong Villa usually, but this time it's very important. Murong Ying reminded Li Fan, you have to remember, even if you don't admit it, you are still a member of the Murong family. How did I become a member of Murong's family? Aren't you my fiancé? Murong Ying asked. I won't refute you, but that doesn't mean I have to give in to your Murong family. Li Fan emphasized. Why are you so stubborn? Heh, what a coincidence. Li Fan clapped his hands. If you're not a family, don't marry into the same family. My dear betrothed, are you any different from me? You. Murong Ying's innate qi revolved, but was immediately suppressed by her. Anyway, this is how I am. If you want to go back yourself. Once Li Fan became stubborn, even 9 bulls couldn't pull him away. Murong loved to stand at the side, so it wasn't appropriate for her to interrupt. When this sister and brother-in-law quarreled, she could only be a bystander. Eldest miss, son-in-law, stop quarreling. Taiju hurriedly mediated. Usually, when the two of them quarreled, she would be the peacemaker. Son-in-law, you see, it's going to be New Year soon. Eldest miss wants you to go back home together. You should understand, right? After all, in eldest miss's heart, you're already her family. Murong Ying snorted softly, declining to comment. Taiju hurriedly continued, son-in-law doesn't want to go back to Murong Villa. As a servant, I can understand. But eldest miss can't be at ease leaving son-in-law alone in a city. Now that so many forces want to kill son-in-law, this kind of concern for your husband, I'm sure you understand, son-in-law. Li Fan didn't say anything, but his expression obviously relaxed a little. And every new year, the Murong family will also return to Murong Villa. If son-in-law doesn't go back, eldest miss will definitely be laughed at by her family. And eldest miss is a person who cares about face, son-in-law knows. Brother-in-law, just go back with us. Murong also begged, I want to spend the new year with brother-in-law. Li Fan glanced at Murong Ying, but Murong Ying turned her eyes elsewhere. But this girl didn't say anything, so it was obvious that she was being unreasonable. It was enough for one person in the family to be unreasonable. Li Fan thought that as a man, he shouldn't make things difficult for a woman. Okay, then I'll go back. Great. Brother-in-law, you're so nice. Murong Ari clapped her hands happily, and Taiju also heaved a sigh of relief. Then pack up, we'll leave in a while. Murong Ying finally spoke, but Li Fan looked at the time and said, a little later, I have to go to the company to check the accounts before the new year. About how long? Murong Ying asked. It won't take too long, 2 hours should be enough. Li Fan said, Taiju can help me pack 2 clothes, I won't bring too many things. Okay, son-in-law, I'll do it now. Taiju was also excited. It was not easy to make son-in-law give in. Li Fan turned around and went out the door, and Murong said, Sister, brother-in-law can give in because he cares about you. Humph, what does a child know? Murong Ying reprimanded her, but Murong Shin muttered to herself, Sister, I know more than you do. Moreover, I know more about brother-in-law than you. However, Murong would not tell her sister about these things. You should also pack up, we'll leave in a while. Got it, I'll take a shower first. Murong said and ran to the bathroom. Follow him. Murong Ying looked at Li Fan's figure outside the window and ordered. A figure immediately flew out from the roof and seemed to follow Li Fan. Li Fan did not know that someone was following him. He came to the security company located in the market as promised. Several security guards had not yet got off work, and were training himself at the request of Guan Wenbao. Lin Yuhin and Li Fan sorted out the accounts together. Fortunately, Li Fan's mathematical ability was not bad, so he helped a little. I saw some gangsters going to the market just now. After Lin Yuhin finished sorting out the accounts, she suddenly raised her head and looked at Li Fan as she said this. Well, it seems that some people won't be able to do business tonight. Li Fan looked down at the account book and said casually, To be honest, I don't like this. Lin Yuhin said, we seem like bad people. Good people? Bad people? Li Fan smiled. How do we distinguish good from evil? We protect those traders, this is good, right? Yes, there's no doubt. Then, they don't care whether we can eat our fill or not, they only care about their own interests. Are they good or evil? Lin Yuhin was silent. There is no absolute good or evil. What I'm doing now is the same. Li Fan said, I only need to do one thing, and that is to fill our stomachs. Moreover, these gangsters don't dare to do anything. At most, they'll threaten these traders. Anyway, I still feel uncomfortable in my heart. You said that because your mother was one of the peddlers. Chapter 398. Although Lin Yuhin didn't want to admit it, she couldn't help but think that he was right. When they need me, these hooligans will naturally disappear. Li Fan's answer made Lin Yuhin feel a little cold. I don't know why. It feels like you've changed. Me? Li Fan pointed to himself. What changed? You've become a little mature, and a little cold. Lin Yuhin said, in the past, if you saw something unfair, you would definitely help. It's the same now. Li Fan laughed. No matter when, this character of mine will not change. However, no matter how enthusiastic I am to help others, I still have to let my brothers eat their fill, right? Have you ever thought that if I don't even have the ability to operate this security company, when the security company really withdraws from here, there will really be no one to protect these small peddlers? Li Fan's words made Lin Yuhin unable to defend herself. She seemed to be a little too smart, and she especially agreed with Li Fan's words. However, Lin Yuhin was a girl after all. Her emotional part also told her that this was still a little cold-blooded. Forget it, I don't want to discuss this with you. As long as everyone is fine. Lin Yuhin didn't say anything. Well, then let's see each other after the new year. Li Fan was about to say goodbye to Lin Yuhin, but at this time, a security guard downstairs shouted. Boss, someone is looking for you downstairs. Who would come looking for me during the new year? Li Fan was very curious. He put on a cotton coat and went downstairs. In the small courtyard in front of the Earth building stood a young man wearing a golden coat. This man was about 30 years old, and he looked heroic. He stood in this world of ice and snow, carrying a violin case on his back, wearing a small shirt and unlined clothes. He must be an internal force expert. This person was very polite. He cupped his hands towards Li Fan and said, "Are you the little tyrant, Li Fan?" He asked directly. "Yes, who are you?" Li Fan looked at the violin case, which was definitely not a violin. "Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself." The golden-clothed youth smiled casually. "My name is Xu Zhenrong, the eldest disciple of the Golden Eagle Castle Lord, Yin Wuchao." Li Fan became vigilant. "Oh? So, you're here to look for trouble? You can't say that. We are martial artists. Jianghu matters should be left to Jianghu," Xu said. Xu Zhenrong's smile. "You stole my junior sister, I have to bring her back. You're going to fight? Using martial arts to make friends, why not?" Xu Zhenrong put down the violin case. "If I can win 2 moves against you, then I will take my junior sister away. If you win, I'll turn around and leave." "That sounds fair." Li Fan also took off his coat and handed it to a security guard. "Keep it safe for me. I still need to wear it later." "Don't worry, boss. I'll protect this coat like I protect my son." The guard immediately patted his chest and said. Li Fan looked at the young security guard who was about 16 or 17 years old and could not help but ask, "Do you have a son?" "No, but there will be." "All right." Li Fan turned his head and looked at Xu Zhenrong. "We can begin." The market in the old city was very sturdy. Even if it was snowing, it could not stop the enthusiasm of the people who set up their stalls. However, it seemed that because of the disturbance caused by the hooligans, many of the vendors had already left work early, and the surroundings were very quiet. Li Fan did a few warm-up moves. "I'm sorry, it seems that it's because of the cold weather that my muscles and bones tend to stiffen easily." "It's understandable." Xu Zhenrong smiled. "Feel free to warm up. Call me when you're done." "It's almost done." Li Fan hooked his finger at Xu Zhenrong. "Young hero Xu, show me your weapon." "I'll do as you say." Xu Zhenrong kicked his violin case. The case opened, and a golden knife about a meter long flew out and landed in his hand. "Different from master, I like to use a knife." Xu Zhenrong weighed his knife. "I like to call it Yama knife. This name is a bit scary. It's only used to scare people," Xu Zhenrong said as he let the knife spin in his hand. This knife spinning speed was very fast, and there was a clear gap between it and Yin Wuchao's desert soul-breaking knife. Xu Zhenrong took a step forward, and at that moment, Li Fan felt that the surrounding snowflakes seemed to have stopped for a moment. In the next second, Xu Zhenrong appeared in front of Li Fan. The knife in his hand was still spinning as it swept towards Li Fan's lower abdomen. This knife was indeed fast. If Li Fan did not have bullet time, it would not be easy for him to dodge. Li Fan wanted to use the great sage plucking the stars, but he felt that the power of the saber was too great for him to catch. Thus, Li Fan changed his strategy and used White Crane Nod to knock on the knife's body. Clang! The knife's body sank, and Li Fan's left hand locked onto Xu Zhenrong's throat. At the same time, he raised his knee and kicked Xu Zhenrong's lower abdomen. Xu Zhenrong took a step back from the kick and left a footprint on the ground before stabilizing his body. "Not bad." Xu Zhenrong patted his lower abdomen as if to brush off the dust on it. "No wonder you were able to force my master to retreat. You are very powerful. Should I thank you for your praise?" Li Fan repositioned himself, "But I usually do not thank those who provoke me. We are all friends through martial arts. Why are you so nervous?" Xu Zhenrong smiled, "But it was my fault earlier for looking down on you." I won't do it now. As he spoke, Shu Zhenrong kicked the violin case again, and another dagger popped out and landed in his other hand. Dual knife style? Li Fan did not expect this. He only heard Murong Ying mention it before. Dual knife style rarely appeared in the pugilistic world because it was very hard to train. Even if there were people who trained it, it would be very common. Shu Zhenrong's two knife moves were very beautiful, causing Li Fan to feel a little dazzled. Let's have the second round, young hero Li Shu Zhenrong said, and with a flick of his foot, he quickly disappeared from Li Fan's sight. His speed was very fast. This was his advantage. But Li Fan's speed was not slow either. His bullet time was his advantage. Two knives quickly cut in front of Li Fan. Li Fan stretched out his hands and used White Crane Nod to knock away Shu Zhenrong's two knives. But this time, Shu Zhenrong's knife technique was very sharp. After being knocked away, the two knives changed direction and slashed towards Li Fan again. This guy's knife technique was indeed unusual. Chapter 399. Shu Zhenrong's saber technique was very smooth and flexible. He attacked and retracted his saber as fast as lightning. Dang, dang, dang. Li Fan's crane head kept hitting Shu Zhenrong's saber, but it couldn't stop Shu Zhenrong's next attack. If this went on, Li Fan would be in an even more disadvantageous position. As long as Shu Zhenrong seized the opportunity, his two sabers would cut Li Fan's body. Li Fan suddenly closed his eyes and completely entered the lightning deer state. His hands were two doors, and he could only use his feet to kick people. But the lightning deer's only weakness was that although Li Fan could lock the opponent with his palms, he didn't have a strong defense like Golden Immortal He. But after Li Fan activated all the forms of the 7 hero fists, he found that he could try to combine the two forms. Crane and deer double form. Li Fan's hands were still in the form of crane hands, and he kept slapping away Shu Zhenrong's attacks. No matter how fast Shu Zhenrong's sabers were, Li Fan's crane hands could easily keep up. This made Shu Zhenrong a little anxious. He kept attacking quickly, and the two of them kept moving around in the small courtyard. Shu Zhenrong's sabers were pushed away by Li Fan from time to time, and they would hit the stone wall at the side, leaving deep marks on the wall. And Li Fan suddenly found a gap and kicked Shu Zhenrong's calf. Shu Zhenrong attacked for a long time, but he didn't make any progress. In the end, he was kicked by Li Fan until he almost knelt on the ground. But he turned his body, and his two sabers almost cut toward Li Fan's legs. This was the first time Li Fan saw such a clever saber technique. But his body jumped up, and his hands pressed down on Shu Zhenrong's wrists. Clang, clang. With two loud sounds, Shu Zhenrong's sabers hit the ground. And Li Fan had already flipped in the air, and at the same time, he spun and swept his leg on Shu Zhenrong's body. Bam! Shu Zhenrong's body was kicked back 2 steps, and he stabilized himself again. Shu Zhenrong's unchanging face finally showed a little surprise. Young hero, good skills. Shu Zhenrong felt that 2 kinds of martial arts appeared on Li Fan at the same time, and he was defeated by these 2 kinds of martial art. Your blade technique is not bad. Li Fan said, moreover, you're so young, yet you've already reached the pinnacle of strength. It's really surprising. Young hero Li, aren't you making me feel ashamed? Shu Zhenrong laughed bitterly. I'm 37 this year, and I've just reached the peak. Young hero, you're only 20 years old, yet you already have such great strength. It really makes me feel ashamed. Shu Zhenrong thought to himself, this little brother has to be at the peak of the middle or upper stage. How did he practice martial arts at this age? He and his fiancée, Murong Ying, were both perverts. It seems that my kung fu is still not as good as young hero Li Shu Zhenrong's side. Since that's the case, I won't embarrass myself. Little junior sister will be safer here with you, so I can be at ease. If you go back like this, will you be able to report to Castle Lord Yin? I didn't do a good job, and I'm ashamed to face Master. However, even so, I don't need to be responsible to Master. Oh! Li Fan was a bit surprised to hear this. This was a bit disgraceful. Because I don't belong to Golden Eagle Castle now, but to the world's #1 alliance, Riding Horse Whistling West Wind. What? Riding Horse Whistling West Wind? Li Fan was stunned. What's this? I don't think Murong Ying mentioned it before. Alliance Master Murong probably didn't mention it to you, right? After all, she doesn't agree with this. Young hero, you might not know, but the pugilistic world is divided into 4 major alliances. 4 major alliances? Old Guan, have you heard of them? Benefactor, I've heard of them. Guan Wenbao nodded. Back then, one of the 4 major alliances, the White Tiger Hall of the Central Plains, also looked for me. Brother Guan, you're the descendant of the righteous god. The White Tiger Hall of the Central Plains naturally appreciates a talent like you. Xu Zhenrong cupped his hands. If Brother Guan can enter the White Tiger Hall, it can be considered a good thing. However, speaking of chivalry, I feel that I have to mention Riding Horse Whistling West Wind. Let's talk about the 4 major alliances. Li Fan's interest was piqued. Back then, the pugilistic world was full of sects and wars. Every sect had their own strengths and wanted to control the pugilistic world. However, there were too many experts, and the pugilistic world had internal strife for a long time. Until a genius expert appeared and changed everything. Expert? Yes, his name is Liu Jinchan. When Xu Zhenrong talked about this person, his face was full of envy. This person was good at using palm techniques. With just a pair of palms, he defeated Invincible Expert. For this, he even created a mystical technique called the 9 Buddha Sutra. The appearance of this person changed everything. He created the World Alliance and recruited the 4 great experts. With his charisma and martial arts, he continued to conquer the remaining experts of the pugilistic world. Finally, one day, he defeated everyone, and the World Alliance unified the pugilistic world. Unfortunately, the heavens were jealous of geniuses, and he died before he reached 40. What a pity. Li Fan felt some admiration in his heart. If this person lived in the same era as him, he could at least fight with him. After his death, the 4 great experts were equal in strength, and no one was willing to submit to the other. They couldn't choose a new alliance leader. Thus, the 4 of them left the World Alliance and established their own 4 major alliances. The World Alliance fell apart and ceased to exist. However, from then on, the 4 major alliances appeared in the pugilistic world, and they continue to exist until today. First is Riding Horse Whistling West Wind, the alliance leader, Smiling Buddha Dragon Fang Yu. Other than that, there's also Riding Sword Xiao Qingfeng, the alliance leader, White Queen Luo Shuowu, who lives on the snowy mountain all year round. There's also the mysterious and ghostly Ksitagaba Tombkeeper, the alliance leader, Blackface Bodhisattva, but no one knows his name. Finally, there's the famous White Tiger Hall of the pugilistic world. This is an alliance famous for cultivating soldiers, and the current alliance leader is WN Beitang. Li Fan felt as if a new door had opened for him. Young hero Li, with your skills, if you enter the 4 major alliances, you will definitely have a bright future. I, Riding Horse Whistling West Wind, am currently recruiting talents from all over the world. If young hero can join, it will definitely be like adding wings to a tiger. I don't have any thoughts of joining any alliance at the moment, sorry. Li Fan didn't agree. Although he was curious, he was just curious. Young hero Li, our Riding Horse Whistling West Wind is still very sincere. Xu Zhenrong chuckled and said, I hope that young hero Li can consider it. Can't I not join the alliance? I like to be a loner. As expected of alliance leader Murong's fiancé, you really have the same temper. Xu Zhenrong declined to comment. You are no longer the high school student Li Fan from before. Little overlord Li Fan, you will eventually have to choose a faction in the pugilistic world. If not today, it might be tomorrow. Chapter 400. Xu Zhenrong threw a bunch of inexplicable words and left. He walked a short distance and came to a corner. Standing under the streetlight, he took out his phone and made a call. He hasn't agreed yet, but he will agree sooner or later. Xu Zhenrong didn't know who he was talking to. Just as he was about to say something, he suddenly frowned. He stretched out his left hand and caught a small knife with a red tassel in front of his eye. Dang! He only caught one knife. The other knife hit his phone and nailed it to the wall beside him. The phone emitted some sparks and then completely broke. Xu Zhenrong was a little surprised. Firstly, this unique knife-throwing technique could effectively attack him. It was definitely not a good person. Secondly, this person could actually follow behind him silently. He must be an expert. Who is it? Xu Zhenrong kicked his violin case and popped out 2 short knives, which he held in his hands. His face was completely cold, which was the complete opposite of his previous smiling state. Cold face golden blade, you've finally shown your true colors. An emotionless voice appeared. At the same time, a black shadow stood in the darkness. The streetlight couldn't illuminate his figure and only his feet could be seen. Riding a horse in the west wind. You are all hypocrites. The other party mocked mercilessly. You hate us so much. Could it be that you are from the leaning sword laughing breeze? Xu Zhenrong spun the 2 knives and sized up the person in the black shadow. This person was very mysterious. Hiding in the shadows, he gave off an even more threatening feeling. The 4 major alliances are all dogs. That person scolded. It seems that you are from the Murong Villa. Xu Zhenrong laughed again. If it wasn't for his iceberg-like face, it was hard to imagine why this person was called Cold Golden Knife. This was because only when he was facing an enemy would he become as cold as ice, like the cold steel of an iceberg. Even if I don't like that person, he still belongs to the Murong Villa. The black shadow reminded Xu Zhenrong, next time you dare to approach my Murong Villa, this knife will pierce your throat. Since you are here, why not have a fight first? Xu Zhenrong suddenly held 2 golden sabers and dashed into the shadows. However, the black shadow from before seemed to have vanished into thin air without a trace. He runs really fast. Xu Zhenrong put away the golden knife and played with the red tasseled flying knife. The flying knife had the word Murong printed on it. Obviously, it was also the work of Murong Villa. Clairvoyant Yin Tian Tian. Xu Zhenrong sneered. Murong Ying actually sent her to keep an eye on Li Fan. Interesting. However, it's hard to say how long Murong Ying can be the leader of the Wulin Alliance. As he spoke, he swung the red tasseled flying knife, and this flying knife stared at another flying knife. Li Fan did not notice that someone was following him. When he returned to his residence, the house was almost tidied up. All the furniture was covered with a white dust-proof cloth. It was obvious that this was done by Tai Zhu. A black Bentley was parked outside. It was Murong Ying's car. Son-in-law, please get in the car. Tai Zhu opened the car door. The car was still emitting heat. Obviously, they had been waiting for a long time. When Li Fan got in the car, Murong Ari and Murong Ying were already sitting opposite. The 2 beautiful girls were very eye-catching. It was a dream of many people to be able to sit in the same car with these 2 beautiful girls. However, this kind of thing was happening in front of him. It was indeed a bit like a dream. In particular, these 2 girls basically belonged to him. If these 2 sisters could serve him together. When Li Fan thought of this, he felt that his heartbeat was a little faster. He hurriedly adjusted his state of mind and calmed his emotions. What? Don't you have anything to say to me? Murong Ying's left leg pressed on her right leg. The scenery under the Cheongsam was very attractive. What do you want to say? Li Fan was stunned for a moment. He did not know what Murong Ying wanted. Do you feel that there is too little communication between us as husband and wife? Li Fan asked with a smile. That's not what I'm asking. Murong Ying seemed to be somewhat unhappy. It was as if Li Fan had done something bad and hid it from her. Li Fan was somewhat apprehensive. Could it be that she found out about the matter between him and Murong Ari? Murong Ari was leaning on the armrest and sleeping. She was unable to respond to Li Fan's gaze. Fuck, this situation doesn't seem too good. You know about it. What do you think? Murong Ying let out a sneer. Shouldn't I know? It's not what I want. That temptation is very big. Of course it's big. It's big enough to make you tempted, right? I know I shouldn't be tempted, but as a man, I might make this kind of mistake. Stupid man. Murong Ying ridiculed. For a little so-called ideal, you can be tempted. Ah, ideal? Yes, it's ideal. Murong Ying resolutely and decisively said, what a good man's ambition is everywhere. Straight man cancer. Li Fan was a bit confused. It seemed that the two of them were not talking about the same thing. In the past, Long Fengyu also used this trick to recruit me and was driven out by me. Murong Ying reminded Li Fan, don't get close to anyone from the Four Alliances. They are a bunch of psychopaths. Fighting for power and position, they have forgotten the original intention of a martial artist. I will definitely not be too close to them. You can rest assured. Li Fan relaxed and laughed, I still have my own force to develop. How can I have time to get involved in their mess? Wait a minute. Li Fan suddenly thought of something. He squinted his eyes and stared at Murong Ying in front of him. You sent someone to follow me. You should learn a lesson. Murong Ying said, he knows how to differentiate between stalking and protecting. I don't want your deformed protection. Li Fan was a bit unhappy. Murong Ying, you can't make me follow you all the time, right? I am not a child. Do I need you to send someone to protect me? Li Fan, have you ever thought about what kind of position you are in right now? Murong Ying reminded Li Fan, you provoked the Imperial Secret Service and the Golden Eagle Castle. If not for the Murong Villa supporting you, do you think you can still live until now? I have never attached myself to the Murong Villa. This is only your opinion. Outsiders will not think so. Murong Ying said, the four major alliances in the Jianghu are all ambitious. An expert like you, who has no organization, is the biggest attraction to them. You are a warrior, a weapon, and a bargaining chip. I, Li Fan, will not become anyone's weapon. Li Fan said in a deep voice, I will become the world's #1 martial artist. Excessive confidence is narcissism. Murong Ying reminded Li Fan, I don't want you to become that kind of person. Chapter 401. No matter what you expect of me, I am me. Li Fan stubbornly says, sooner or later, I will defeat you as well, wife. Good, I look forward to that day. Murong Ying says, I hope it won't be too long because you are still far from it. I will catch up soon. You also have to work hard. Li Fan can now operate 2 forms at the same time, which greatly increases his fighting strength. Therefore, Li Fan's confidence is quite high. The only thing that makes him uncomfortable is that he is still stuck at the bottleneck. If he does not break through this bottleneck, his internal force will not be able to advance. Your current strength is the strength of 5 dragons. Murong Ying crosses her hands and proudly smiles, I now have the strength of 9 dragons and 4 tigers. A generation's master is only a step away from me. What the? Li Fan is so angry that he wants to curse. Where did this monster Murong Ying come from? Her training ability is too strong. She is only 20 years old and she is about to break through to Generation's Master. If Murong Ying knows Li Fan's thoughts, she would probably be depressed. After all, Murong Ying has been practicing martial arts since she was 3 years old. All the way until today, she has trained for 17 years to reach today's achievement. But how long has Li Fan been practicing martial arts? 1 year. At the very most, it is only a year's time. In this 1 year's time, he actually changed from a high school student who does not know any fist techniques to a peak martial arts master. Who can do this? Even the genius of the Heaven Alliance, Liu Jinchan, does not have such a powerful talent. Something is wrong. Murong Ying suddenly remembers that Liu Jinchan is also a pure young body expert. Moreover, he seems to have a few supreme beauties by his side who have high martial arts skills. Damn it. If I also have a pure young body, how good would that be? God is really unfair. Why did he give a pure young body to a man? I'm looking forward to when you'll let me fight with my full strength. Murong Ying took the initiative to provoke Li Fan. After all, she was somewhat unconvinced in her heart. I won't keep you waiting for too long. Also, there's something I need to clarify. Li Fan decided to make some things clear first. Oh, tell me about it. Murong Ying switched her legs, which made Li Fan lower his eyes. If you keep looking, I'll dig out your eyeballs. The scenery is good, why can't I watch it? You're courting death. Then kill me. When Li Fan acted like a rascal, Murong Ying really loved and hated him at the same time. Let's talk about you first. Forget it if you don't want to say it. Oh, right. I was so busy looking at the scenery that I almost forgot to get down to business. You're still talking nonsense. Look at you, we're talking about serious matters. Why are you getting off topic again? You. Murong Ying crushed the door next to her. Next time, you should drive a tank. Li Fan was speechless. This woman always liked to vent her anger on good things. Hurry up. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. Okay, then I'll say it. Li Fan said, it's still our agreement. Just like what Taiju said, when we reach Murong's house, I'll give you face. But, if your old man provokes me too much, I might not be able to endure it. You'd better endure it. Murong Ying reminded, he's a true grandmaster of his generation. His power is not something you can imagine. How strong is a grandmaster of his generation? You can't imagine it. Until you reach this level. When Murong Ying said it, there was a reverent tone. To be able to make this proud and arrogant Wulin Alliance leader revere. It must be that kind of power at the peak. In Jianghu, a grandmaster of his generation is very rare. Every grandmaster of his generation can be said to be a national treasure. Didn't the previous commander of the Brocade Guard use evil attack to break through the last restriction and become a grandmaster of his generation? Didn't you see his power? I saw it. It's quite strong. That's because he just became a grandmaster of his generation. He hasn't understood it yet. Murong Ying's words shocked Li Fan. What he showed was only 1/10 of his power. Is a grandmaster really that strong? Did I lie? Murong Ying rolled her eyes at Li Fan. In Jianghu, there are a few grandmasters of their generation. Each of them is a national treasure. Jianghu has rules. They won't easily make a move. Because once they make a move, the rules of Jianghu will be changed. What about the leaders of the 4 alliances? How strong are they? They're far from it. Murong Ying smiled disdainfully. A few little kids who have reached the peak also dare to call themselves leaders. Murong Ying was the leader of Wulin Alliance while they were the leaders of their own alliances. Although the weight was different, Murong Ying's heart would still be somewhat unhappy. Their ambition far exceeds their strength. Murong Ying only left such a comment. In short, you have to be careful of them. Don't worry. Basically, we won't have any chance to meet. Are you sure? Murong Ying smiled sweetly. Every year during Chinese New Year, these 4 so-called leaders will come over to pay their respects. Damn, is there a need for your family to be so lively? The degree of bustle is beyond your imagination. Murong Ying first gave a warning to Li Fan. Murong's family is really big. Don't be too surprised when the time comes. The last time I went there weren't many. Not all of them live in Murong's house, but during Chinese New Year, they all have to come back. Murong Ying introduced, my father has 3 brothers, each brother has many children, plus my father's cousins, and so on, all kinds of branches. To be honest, even until now, even I don't remember how many sisters I have with the same or different surnames. Damn, there are too many people. Li Fan felt a headache. He hated dealing with this kind of situation the most. In the past, when his parents asked him to greet relatives he didn't know, Li Fan felt very annoyed. What the hell, he didn't know those people, how could he greet them intimately? Do I need to greet them intimately? That's not necessary, just be polite. What if you can't be polite? Don't go too far. I have to be polite. Murong Ying glared fiercely at Li Fan. Anyway, I will try my best to avoid unnecessary social interactions. Murong Ying said this. She was very tolerant of Li Fan. Li Fan was embarrassed to ask for too much. Since his fiancée gave in, he had to show the bearing that a man should have. That's good, then I will also try my best to be polite. Not knowing why, Li Fan already started to have a headache. Chapter 402. Returning to Murong Villa again, Li Fan found that it had indeed become lively. The parking lot of the huge Murong Villa was usually empty, with only a few cars parked there. But now, the parking lot was almost full. When Murong Ying and Li Fan returned, Murong Bo was not even willing to see Li Fan and sent him to live in a wing room. But seeing this wing room, Murong Ying didn't say anything. Murong Ari was the first to protest. Why is brother-in-law given such a place? Murong Ari looked at the housekeeper in front of her and asked with a frown. This is a place for servants to live. Murong Ari was very angry. I'm sorry, second miss. Now the rooms in Murong Villa are all full, and there's only one room. The housekeeper replied calmly, Master ordered that son-in-law should stay here. This is too much. Murong Ari said angrily, let brother-in-law sleep in my room. Murong Ying and the housekeeper were shocked. Murong Ari quickly added, I'll sleep in the same room with my sister. Xiao Ari is becoming more and more sensible. Murong Ying couldn't help but touch her sister's head. Let your brother-in-law sleep with me. Murong Ari seemed slightly surprised, and there seemed to be a flash of jealousy in her eyes. But she hid it very well, and it was just a flash. Mrs. Master said that there are many people coming back this time. Son-in-law hasn't officially married eldest miss yet, so he can't live with eldest miss. He will be criticized. Then let's do as I say. Murong Ari immediately said, if I live with my sister, I won't be criticized, right? That's not appropriate, second miss, what's wrong with it? I think you're deliberately making things difficult. We're all family. Why do you have to make things like this? Murong's protectiveness towards Li Fan seemed to have surpassed that of a sister-in-law towards her brother-in-law. Li Fan was afraid of exposing himself, so he hurriedly stopped him. Forget it. I came back to celebrate the new year. I don't care where I live. Li Fan smiled. Maybe you don't believe me, but the house I used to live in had leaks on all sides. I've wronged you. Murong Ying said to Li Fan, you stay here for a while. I'll go talk to my father. There's really no need. You guys go back to your work. In fact, Li Fan was a little glad that the house was arranged as remote as possible. It would be best if they didn't look for him for meals. It was really troublesome to meet with such a big family. Let's stay here for now. Murong Ying didn't say much. She just took her sister's hand and said, Xiao Ari, come with me to see father. Okay, originally, Murong wanted to fight for it, but when she saw Li Fan's stopping look, she had to stop. You guys have fun. I'm going to rest for a while. Li Fan said goodbye to Murong and her sister and hid in this wing room to relax. Even if it was just a wing room for servants, it was still a very good small Western-style building. Li Fan went directly to the second floor and lay on the soft bed to relax. People were all happy and reunited during the new year. In the end, he was all alone. It was indeed a bit pitiful. However, he had already chosen to take this step, so he had to go all the way. Li Fan crossed his legs, crossed his arms, and began to enter a state of meditation. A person who practiced martial arts often had to empty himself and maintain meditation. Li Fan mobilized the true qi in his body and once again attacked the seventh acupoint. However, the seventh acupoint was like a strong city. No matter how Li Fan attacked, he couldn't break through it. Li Fan really wanted to curse, but at this time, a voice appeared in his ear. You need a little help. The voice of the heart demon. Shut up, I don't need anyone's help. I'm not anyone, I'm you. The voice sounded again, you only need your own help. I've already tried my best. Not enough. The voice of the heart demon roared, just a little. You just need to accept me. The seventh acupoint is not a problem. I don't need radical methods. Li Fan said calmly, practicing martial arts is like rowing a boat against the current. It has to be done step by step. The faster you swim, the more dangerous it is. You. Take a look for yourself. An illusion suddenly appeared in front of Li Fan. He stepped on Murong Bo's corpse, standing high on a mountain of corpses. The corpses below were all familiar faces, Murong Bo of Murong Villa, the commander-in-chief of the genie guards, in short, all kinds of enemies, as long as you listen to your own heart. These people, they are not your opponent at all. What's a grandmaster? You can be stronger, you can step on everyone under your feet. Shut up. Li Fan was a little annoyed by his words. He quickly adjusted his mentality. If he was annoyed, he would fulfill the heart demon's wish. Li Fan tried his best to calm himself down. He began to enter the ape-faced Buddha's posture. The Dharma was boundless. Entering this posture, the power of the heart demon would be greatly weakened. No, you shouldn't reject yourself. The heart demon seemed to roar, Think about the treatment you receive. You were treated like a dog by Murongbo. Do you know? I will naturally fight for my position. Li Fan said loudly, don't talk nonsense with me. Get out of my head. The ape-faced Buddha state had been fully activated. Li Fan felt a lot better. His ears could finally be at peace. Li Fan would not be defeated by his heart demon. He swore he would not be defeated. The true qi in his body continued to slowly circulate, and he continued to try, attacking Li Fan's 7th acupuncture point again and again. Although he did not know when it would work, Li Fan still tried. Even if it was like drilling wood to make a fire, he would definitely succeed in the end. Didn't the ancients say that as long as the effort was deep enough, an iron rod could be ground into an embroidery needle? On the other side, the Murong sisters had already entered the hall. Murongbo was sitting on a wooden armchair. Although he was over 50 years old, there was not a single strand of silver in his hair. He was still full of heroic spirit. My two babies, you are finally back. Murongbo was wild with joy. You made father think bad. Come, let father hug you. Murong Ying simply pulled out her long sword, and Murongbo also took 2 steps back. My daughter has grown up, I can't stay here anymore. Murongbo even wiped away his tears. There are many people outside who want to see you. When Murong Ying arrived, there were many people sitting in the reception hall outside. It is always like this at this time of the year, you know. Murongbo waved his hand. Wait until the end of the year, when your uncles come back, that is the real annoying moment. So, is this the reason why my husband slept in the servants' room? Chapter 403. Xiao Ying, what's with your tone? How dare you talk to your father like this? Murongbo said bitterly, I'm a man, but I have to be a father and a mother, bringing up the two of you. It's not easy for me. Now that you've grown up, you're questioning your father like this because of an outsider. Father's heart hurts. Father, how can you say that? Murong Ari also began to argue, brother-in-law is a family with us. He came all the way here, but you let him sleep in a servant's room. Not to mention that brother-in-law can bear it, even a strong-willed person like sister can't bear it. Xiao Ari, why are you speaking for that outsider after living outside for a period of time? Murongbo's eyes turned red again. I'm a man, but I have to be a father and a mother, bringing up the two of you. Are you sister-in-law Xianglin? Murong Ying couldn't help but roll her eyes. Li Fan is my husband. What you're doing is simply driving me away. How can that be? Father misses you so much, how can I drive you away? Murongbo hurriedly said. Xiao Ying, you have to be considerate. There are many people in the family, but there are few rooms. Besides, so what if it's a servant's room? Isn't it 100 times better than the place that kid used to live? Don't forget, if it weren't for Murong's family, he would still be living in a broken house with cracks on all sides. It's because you're always like this. Murong Ying suddenly felt very tired and couldn't help but sigh. Forget it, I'm tired. I'm going to rest. Good night, father. Murong Ying said and turned to leave. Murongbo couldn't stop her no matter how hard she tried. Then I'm leaving too. Good night, father. Murong Ari also ran away with her sister. Murongbo tried to stop her several times, but neither of her 2 daughters stayed. What nonsense, these 2 children have grown up. Murongbo was a little depressed, and Jiang Feng had been standing at the side. When he heard Murongbo get angry, he went forward and cupped his hands. Master, don't be angry. The guests will come to greet you soon. Originally, Murong was going to bring her 2 daughters to meet the guests together. Hearing Jiang Feng's words, her expression relaxed a little. All right, I almost forgot about business. Let the guests in. Yes, master. The housekeeper stood there, nodded at once, and went to open the door. According to previous years, there should have been a group of guests fighting to be the first to enter, but this year seemed a little different. There were only a few guests outside, and they seemed to be in low spirits. As for the large group of people who were supposed to rush in to pay their New Year greetings, they were nowhere to be found. Where are they? Murongbo wrinkled his brows. Even the representatives of the 4 major alliances had disappeared. These people had been eagerly seeking him out in the past, wanting to rope him in. Even if they couldn't rope him in, they had to get close to him and win his support. But this year, not a single one of them appeared. Mana Master Murong, I'm really sorry. Everyone thought that you went to bed early again this year. A sect leader of a small sect in the pugilistic world cupped his hands and explained, so everyone went to pay a visit to young hero Li. Murong Bo almost vomited blood. This group of damn bastards. Li Fan was definitely his nemesis. Since that's the case, I also have to pay my respects to my future son-in-law. Murong Bo said, and directly left the hall without caring about the few guests who were waiting for him. And at this moment, Li Fan was being harassed to the point of no return. Originally, the side room should be a place where no one would disturb his cultivation. Unexpectedly, not long after he settled here, a group of uninvited guests came. A group of people who claimed to be the representatives of the 4 major alliances did not let him rest. They surrounded him and chattered, shouting that they wanted to make friends with Li Fan and become sworn brothers. There was even someone who wanted his sister to be his concubine. Sitting among these people, Li Fan felt like he was sitting in a cage surrounded by a group of ducks, causing him to be annoyed. Friends, I'm really sorry. I'm used to being alone and don't want to join any alliance. Li Fan's words were very weak and did not have any effect. These people shouted even more happily. Everyone! Do you not understand what I'm saying? Li Fan was very annoyed. He felt that these people seemed to be against him. Brother Li, you're still young. A person riding Whistling West Wind laughed and patted Li Fan's shoulder. With your skills, if you join the alliance, you will definitely become our alliance leader's right-hand man. These few times, he often mentioned you, saying that he always wanted to meet young hero. I'm only a high school student. Everyone thinks too highly of me. Li Fan immediately declined. What I want to do the most right now is to study hard. I really don't have such thoughts about joining the alliance. The Jianghu is big, like a whirlpool. An armored man from the White Tiger Hall said, even if you don't want to join, you will be involved in this flood sooner or later. So, making a choice early is better than being forced to make a choice. Friend, your words are very interesting. Li Fan could not help but laugh. Although I haven't practiced martial arts for a long time, no one has ever dared to force me to make a decision. Young hero Li has guts and schemes. It has been widely spread in the Jianghu. The representative riding Whistling West Wind said with a smile, as if he was not angry at Li Fan's words. Young and frivolous. When I was young hero Li's age, I was also high-spirited. Until I saw how big the Jianghu is. Why, are you guys going to give me a lesson? Li Fan smiled. Don't you think I'm like my teacher? I think the weather tonight is good, and the moon is just right. Why don't you draw a line and let's have a spar? Maybe that will make my mood better. It's almost the new year. It's not our style to fight. The representative riding Whistling West Wind said with a smile, although young hero Li's martial arts are high, you don't know much about the rules of the Jianghu. Rules of the Jianghu? Young hero Li, I'm sorry. According to the rules of the Jianghu, it's not suitable to fight at the end of the year. Li Fan was speechless. There were too many messy rules in the Jianghu. Fighting at the end of the year will bring murderous intent. Even martial artists hope to have a peaceful new year. A familiar voice appeared in Li Fan's ears. Then, the figure that Li Fan hated the most came over. It's very lively here, my son-in-law. Murong stood there with his hands behind his back. For some reason, the wind and snow seemed to stop when it came to his side. The true qi in Murong's body was already strong to such an extent. Even the weather couldn't get close to him. Li Fan just quietly looked at Murong. How strong was a grandmaster? Chapter 404. At that moment, Li Fan even had the urge to fight with this person, but it was only for a moment. Li Fan still held back. Martial fighters are a group of people who follow the rules. Since they said that there would be no martial arts at the end of the year, then they should really not fight. Furthermore, his strength was still too lacking. If he rashly fought with Murong, he would be crippled and it would not be beneficial to him. He would conserve his energy and wait for the day he entered the Grandmaster level to compete with him. Grandmaster level, He would reach it sooner or later. Greetings, father-in-law. Although he was not happy in his heart, he had promised Murong Ying that he still had to put up a good front. Li Fan cupped his hands at Murong. Murong smiled. My future son-in-law, you are really promising. Murong looked around. The people from the 4 major alliances could not help but avoid his gaze. Look, there are so many people here, they can't wait to come and pay their respects to you. Father-in-law is overpraising me. Li Fan used the humble words that he could think of and cupped his hands. Everything is because of father-in-law's glory. Not bad, it's good that you know. Murong very honestly accepted Li Fan's words. Everything that you have today is indeed because of our Murong family. Without Murong family, there would be no you today. Yes, father-in-law is right. Li Fan endured it. He did not want to have this kind of dispute with Murong. As long as he endured for a few days, he would not have to see this old idiot Murong when he returned home. Since father-in-law is here, son-in-law should also leave. Everyone, please. As Li Fan spoke, he directly turned around and went up to the 2nd floor, leaving the guests downstairs. This year, Murong Villa is not receiving guests, go back. Murong was also a little angry. He waved his sleeves. Don't wait for me to personally send the guests off. After that, Murong Bo also turned around and left. The people from the sects and the 4 alliances looked at each other. Since Murong had asked them to leave, they couldn't be thick-skinned and stay. However, they got a piece of information from this. Murong Bo and her son-in-law, Li Fan, didn't seem to have a good relationship. This matter seemed to be good news. The others also left one after another, but there was one person who stayed behind. He stood downstairs, cupped his hands and said loudly, Young hero Li, I am Chen Junhua's senior brother. My junior martial brother often talks about you, saying that he hopes that if you are free, you can come to Mount Hua to exchange swordsmanship. Tell him I'll go when I'm free. Li Fan's voice could also be heard. That's good. Young hero Li, farewell. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly thought of something and stopped. By the way, there's something I need to tell young hero Li. That Mount Hua sect disciple suddenly said, although it's almost the end of the year, the Jianghu isn't peaceful. Just a few days ago, the Golden Eagle Castle was sneak attacked. What? Can you make it clear? Li Fan's figure flashed, and he lightly landed on the ground floor from upstairs, without making a sound. This elegant Qinggong made the Mount Hua sect disciple somewhat envious. They practiced on the mountain all year round and thought that their Qinggong was outstanding. But when they saw Li Fan's footsteps, they knew that he was looking at the sky from the bottom of a well. The people from the Devil sect, they sneak attacked the Golden Eagle Castle and caused great damage to the Golden Eagle Castle. The people from the Devil sect. Li Fan was still not clear about the matter of the Devil sect. The full name of the Devil sect is the Sect of the Invincible and Invincible. The Mount Hua sect disciple said, everyone calls them the Devil sect. I don't know why this group of people sneak attacked the Golden Eagle Castle overnight, plotted against Yin Wuchao, and turned the Golden Eagle Castle upside down. They are looking for something? Yes, I don't know what they are looking for, but it seems like they didn't find it. The Mount Hua sect disciple was also guessing. His voice was filled with doubt. I don't know what these people from the Devil sect are looking for. But, young hero Li, you have to be more careful. Why? The 4 major alliances want to rope you in. The Devil sect naturally also wants to. And if they can't rope you in, the Devil sect is very likely to destroy you. I understand, thank you for your reminder. Li Fan bowed to him. That's all I have to say, young hero Li, I wish you good luck. With that, the Mount Hua sect disciple finally left Li Fan's room. This time, Li Fan was indeed the only one here, and it was finally completely quiet. Those fellows have finally left. But what are those people from the Devil sect actually looking for? He pondered for a moment, then took out a piece of parchment from his bosom. On it was a cultivation diagram. It was the diagram that Li Fan got from the Golden Eagle Castle. Could it be that they are looking for this? Li Fan took out both pieces of parchment, spread them on the table, and looked at them with the help of the light. The kung fu of these 2 diagrams all had to be performed in the opposite direction. Was the Devil sect looking for this thing? But could this kind of kung fu really be practiced? Suddenly, Li Fan had a bold idea. The more Li Fan practiced his God-connecting meridian, the more magical it was. In the past few days, Li Fan also noticed that the God-connecting meridian actually contained the 7 meridians and 8 meridians of the human body. Previously, Li Fan temporarily stored the power of one dragon that he absorbed from Wang Sen in the God-connecting meridian, but now, he suddenly had a very bold idea. Li Fan held his breath, calmed his mind, and let his soul enter a state of emptiness. Li Fan alternated his hands and made a strange gesture. Then, his meridians seemed to switch from the power of 5 dragons, which had reached the peak, to the power of 1 dragon, which had just reached the next level. It was like the switch of the 2 postures, and the posture of the 7 heroes force was taken into the God-connecting meridian. In this state of the power of 1 dragon, Li Fan's true qi took the simplest route, without any internal force. It was like a piece of unpolished jade, waiting for Li Fan to develop. And Li Fan compared one of the drawings and studied it. He followed the pattern on the drawing, sat cross-legged on the bed, and began to practice the pattern on the first one. Li Fan began to let the true qi go in the opposite direction. After just 1 round, Li Fan spat out a mouthful of blood. However, because Li Fan did not practice other kung fu, his injury was not serious, and he did not immediately go crazy. Li Fan tried his best to empty his mind, followed the method on the pattern, and continued to practice. Every time the true qi went 1 round, it would be extremely painful. However, Li Fan was stubborn. He did not believe that this kind of kung fu could not be practiced. At most, he would destroy the kung fu in the God-connecting meridian, and he would still be a good man. Li Fan made up his mind. No matter how painful it was, he would try to practice the kung fu. After the true qi ran for 49 rounds, Li Fan suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his vision began to darken. Chapter 405. Li Fan's eyes turned black and his ears rang with a buzzing sound, as if someone was constantly ringing a bell in his ears. 7 by 7 for 49 rounds, this true qi seemed to have injured Li Fan's bone marrow, causing him unbearable pain. With blood dripping from the corner of his mouth, he forcefully urged his true qi and walked another round. Unexpectedly, after this round, Li Fan's pain seemed to have disappeared. Instead, it was an addictive feeling of comfort, as if it was healing Li Fan's meridians. Oh, Li Fan's mouth could not help but let out a comfortable moan. It was a little too comfortable. This skill seemed to be beyond his expectations. Li Fan felt a little addicted to practicing. Not only did he not feel pain, but it became more and more comfortable. And in Li Fan's mind, there seemed to be a burst of Buddhist voice lingering. He felt as if he had come to the top of a spiritual mountain, surrounded by golden Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, each chanting sutras, directly attacking the soul. Li Fan suddenly opened his eyes seemed to emit a golden light. He felt comfortable all over, all the pores on his body subconsciously opened. Because of switching meridians, Li Fan's 9 acupoints were once again sealed. After practicing the first chapter, Li Fan's first acupoint was opened. He wanted to immediately practice the second chapter, but there was a feeling of powerlessness. It seemed that the content of the first chapter was already too rich, enough for Li Fan to digest for a long time. Li Fan felt that it was not that his true qi was insufficient, his physical strength was not abundant, but his mental strength seemed to be a little insufficient. Practicing this inner force would make him abnormally tired. It seems that I can only stop here today. Li Fan spat out a mouthful of turbid air, letting his state gradually relax. However, the cultivation speed of this martial art was particularly slow. In the past, if Li Fan wanted to improve his inner force, he could do it very quickly. But now, after practicing for a night, his inner force did not improve, it only increased a little, about a dragon or a tiger. Li Fan stopped practicing, then formed a seal with both hands, and then his palms faintly emitted a blood-red brilliance. There was only one move recorded on each manual, and they were all palm techniques. The page that Li Fan was learning was called Vajra. This was a defensive palm technique. Li Fan wanted to test its power, but he didn't have the chance to use it now. It was better to hide this kind of martial art first, in case it caused any trouble. Li Fan decided to secretly practice this martial art every night. He would first strengthen the first posture, and after he was familiar with it, he would try the second posture. It sounded like a sex book. However, it was actually a very serious kung fu. For martial fighters, training was rest, and rest was training. Li Fan stayed in this room for a few days. His meals were delivered to him. When he had nothing to do, he could go skating in the small lake at the back. His days were quite comfortable. This kind of life lasted until the end of the year. Wake up, Li Fan. On this day, Li Fan was woken up by his fiancée. He rubbed his eyes and realized that it was still dark outside. Why did you wake me up so early? Li Fan sat up from the bed and stretched. He slept naked out of habit. Murong Ying immediately turned her head away. Pervert. Hey. I was sleeping in my own bed, what's there to be perverted about? Besides, we're already an old couple. I'll just suffer a little if you look at me. I'll just bear with it. Do you know what your most powerful ability is? My powerful internal energy? My pure fist technique? No, it's your ability to spout nonsense with a straight face. Ahaha, Li Fan laughed dryly and didn't deny it. Hurry up and pack up. Today is the first day of the new year. There are many things to do. Li Fan was stunned for a moment. It was already the first day of the new year? Last night, I should have asked you to have dinner together, but my father's behavior. You know it too. It's okay. I'm quite relieved to be left alone. Li Fan said. These few days, he had been focusing on practicing the kung fu on the atlas. He really felt that one day in the cave was equivalent to 1,000 years in the world. He didn't expect it to be the first day of the new year. Time passed so quickly. Hurry up and put on your clothes. We're going to pay our New Year's greetings together. Also, our relatives will come. Murong Ying said as she picked up a set of clothes and threw it to Li Fan. Li Fan took a look. It was a set of arrow sleeves with a golden vest and a red robe inside. It was probably a festive occasion for the new year. Come with me. When you meet our relatives, remember to treat their words as if they're barking dogs. Murong Ying turned around and walked out of the door after saying that. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Murong Ying was probably the first person to treat their relatives this way. Li Fan washed up, put on his clothes, and went out. Murong Ying was still waiting outside. When Li Fan came out, she naturally took Li Fan's arm. The two of them looked like a real husband and wife as they walked together to the largest house. Many red lanterns were hung on every house in Murong Villa. Although the sky was not bright yet, the whole villa was illuminated in a bright red light. It was very festive. The place where Murong lived was called the Purple Chi Courtyard. It could be said to be the most luxurious place in the entire Murong Villa. The Purple Chi Courtyard alone had 9 courtyards. There were mountains and rivers in the courtyard, and the feng shui was excellent. There were already many relatives of Murong standing in the courtyard, waiting to go in and pay their New Year's greetings to Murong one by one. The further in they went, the more distinguished the relatives' bloodlines were. And those who could enter the 7-star tower were direct relatives of Murong Villa. Isn't this the young master? Long time no see. TSK, you should call her Alliance Chief Murong. As soon as Murong Ying entered, she heard many people mocking and ridiculing her. These people were full of jealousy. Li Fan could see this from their eyes. My daughter, the future head of Murong Villa, you're finally here. At the head of the table, Murong Bo sat there. When he saw his eldest daughter, a smile immediately appeared on his face. Come. Sit beside me. Murong Ying walked over and sat next to Murong Bo. And Murong Bo could only sit a little further away. Obviously, this seat was arranged according to the status in the family. Murong Ying sat there. Although no one said a word, there were more and more looks of jealousy. Brother-in-law, come quickly. I've saved a seat for you. Murong Bo patted the empty seat next to her and asked Li Fan to sit down. Thank you. Li Fan was very touched that his sister-in-law was so concerned about him. He sat next to Murong Bo naturally, and a young man in the distance immediately stood up and pointed a finger directly at Li Fan's nose. Who do you think you are? How dare you sit in that seat? You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.